Damn, they'll put you in the garage again.
No, this is one of our studio sets at our podcast studio. So
Okay.
we having problems with the computer on the station. So that's why I went ahead and moved here. Hey man, they was ready for us too, man. We running just a little bit late, but who cares? We always give them overtime anyway. Uh, and we got a great conversation going on today. Hey, I'd like to welcome everybody to HBCU Coaches Corner. I'm your man, Rocky Miller, along with the Rattler himself, Stephen Campbell, and our featured host, none other than the SWAC legend himself, Johnnie Cole. We're going to get into a lot of conversation today. We had a lot of big things happen in HBCU football the last few days. Primarily, the big news was Jackson State winning the Celebration Bowl and everything. But before we get into all that and all this going on, Coach, how you doing, Coach Cole?
Man, I'm doing well, Coach. Doing well, man. The SWAC, I am SWAC, won the championship, and I'm excited. I'm excited about that. And some things happen in the sports today, and it looks like that. We got a lot to talk about today.
Oh yeah, we definitely got a lot to talk about. Steve, how are
Yes,
you
sir.
doing?
Man, listen. Football season is over. We got a new champion. Joined the Champions Club. Had a great time at the Celebration Bowl. So, man, hey, man, football don't stop, man. We got other sports we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about this game. And we're going to talk about, man, there's a big thing happening up there in the MEAC. So we're going to talk about that, too.
Yeah, Steve, you had an opportunity to go to the Celebration Bowl along with Coach Cole, and what I wanted to kind of, what was your feel on the game? I mean, not just the game, but the whole atmosphere and the camaraderie amongst the fans.
Well, man, I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to say this again. I like the difference about real people compared to a lot of the Twitter trolls online. I mean, it was beautiful, man. It's HBCU homecoming, man. You see people from different schools representing people very nice, man. I said that in shout out to section 129, my Jack State folk, man. We had a ball. And man, listen, the game kind of played out like we said. If one team did what they said they were going to do, they were going to win. And Jackson State came out, dominated, started running the ball, controlling the ball, and then I said that. I said, Jack State, get up, they're not going to lose. And that's exactly what they did. And they got control of that game early and often. And it just looks like South Carolina State was out of sorts. So again, this is the flip side. Previous years we heard that the layoff benefited the MEAC. Now this year we heard it didn't benefit the MEAC. So the bottom line, I don't put too much credence either way. I think that Jack State was the bigger, faster, and better team, and it showed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Coach Cole, you thought Jackson State was a dominant team early on, and it proved to be true that even in the championship game, they dominated South Carolina State.
Yeah.
A lot of people will argue that point, but when you hold a team to around 150 yards total offense and double them up, that's a pretty dominant performance in my opinion. With that being the situation, South Carolina State had virtually no chance to win that game based on the fact that their offense was rendered ineffective, and Jackson State was able to impose their will on their defense, having a 19-play drive and I think a 14-play drive. So, again, Coach, but with all that being said, we do have a special guest, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Campbell.
Well, let me say this before we bring our special guests in. I want to take my hat off to HBCU people, HBCU colleges. We had people from all over. And Campbell, you can attest, Hampton, Howard, Texas Southern, Prairie View, Clark Atlanta, Spelman. Man, we had black folks that wasn't even on either team that came out. And guys, take our hat off to black folks, man, that we do go watch college football games. That 37 to 40,000 people they had will probably be more than 75% of the Division I-A schools, the FBS schools, in attendance. 75 of all the HBCU FBS bowl games, that game, I guarantee you, Coach, gonna rank up there very, very high. And that's from a contribute of, people coming to watch a game. And it lets you know, people follow winners. And so I was real excited, man. I mean, just seeing the pageantry of seeing so many people from so many places. Again, that not just was just from Jackson State and South Carolina State, but from a whole bunch of other schools, man. I take my hat off to the administration of the Celebration Bowl. I think they ought to get it even bigger. I think they ought to invite all the coaching staff, football coaching staffs up there, man, and maybe us do an ESP, what they call it, ESP SB Awards.
What they do college game day?
Yeah, or SB Award, Coach. Hand out the Coach of the Year award in Black.
Okay.
Most valuable player, the All-American.
Have the black.
That would be big. It could be a fundraiser. You know what I'm saying? Big sponsor. We got to think big, Coach. And I really think that would be great. I don't need to see why the Black College Coaches Association don't have their meeting that weekend as well. So I'm just throwing those ideas out. But I mean, we showed up and showed out, man. It was a great crowd.
Well, Coach, let me jump on that, because what's interesting about that. So the SWAC has their Hall of Fame dinner. They moved it to Celebration Bowl weekend.
Okay.
So they're already putting that there. The SWAC, now I can't speak for the MEAC, but I know the SWAC ADs had their basically a meeting during the Celebration Bowl, because my AD was there. I was with her, talked about some things for FAMU and things like that. But what was interesting, I saw this, is that the MEAC had their awards in Vegas. So that was weird to me. So I don't know if they were doing it in partnership. And, so again, I want to be clear. I'm not being disrespectful, because it might be a reason. But to your point, it would look like if we had a total celebration, the MEAC Awards, you know what I mean, in Atlanta, and Hall of Fame. If we had the SWAC Awards, you know what I'm saying? And then, first of all, you're bringing the legends back in and things like that. So I just thought that was just awesome. And I'm going to say this again, and I posted and again, Rock, I think I told you guys, my father was a disc jockey on WOK in D.C. with Charlie Neal. I had not seen Charlie Neal since I was a little boy. So I got a chance he was sitting in the same section I was. So that was just a bucket list. It was like God sent Charlie Neal so I could see him. And it was just so, and when I told him who he was, he almost cried, because he said, man, I haven't seen you since you was a baby. So, shout out to Charlie Neal and everything. So, man, it was an amazing time, man. It was an amazing time.
But and this is what I want to say, and it's a negative thing to a way. We got to work together. On that day, on that weekend, it should be the SWAC, MEAC, SIAC, CIAA, just a conglomerate of HBCUs and the opportunity, man. And I tell you, we could do it just like the other schools, the PWI schools. We do it just like that, man, and just have a hell of a week, man. I just think that we could take advantage of that if we work together. All right, Coach. You got it, Coach Camel.
All right, man. Well, listen.
I got my flag out. Every time you go overboard, I'm my flag.
Listen, we got a new champion that hails from the state of Mississippi, the city of Jackson, 1400 Lynch Street. And my main man, my nephew, the North Jackson Takeover. My guy, my nephew, Zoe Phillips, is going to tell us why he said I told you so.
Hey, man. We woke up this morning to pitch excellence, man. It feels good to be a champion, dog. Yeah. But listen, I'm going to say I told you so, but before I even get into that, I want y'all to take note of my shirt that I have on, my lovely uniform. Because I don't know if y'all know this, but every day the mailman got to get up and go to work. Every day the mailman got to get up and go to work. But the only difference is the mailman's down in Mississippi. We deliver. I don't know about the mailman. They don't deliver.
Wait, real quick, can I sneak in? I got my referee shirt on tonight, because we got to talk about some real stuff, and I'm going to be throwing my flag. But go ahead. You got it, man. You got it, Coach. You called
it. Listen, I just want to say this. Last week I came on here, man. I said, all these things, and I just want to say this. Man, look, when somebody has conviction about what they think is going to happen, because I got, Steve, I can assure you, you ain't gonna get no call from nobody from South Carolina today. I can assure you this. I can assure you this. Because last week they were calling you, right?
They were calling, they blowing me up.
Everything I was saying was blasphemy. Oh, we scored this many points. We're gonna do this. I said, man, I want to say so bad. Look, I don't care what they tell you. My score, go back and run it. I said 31. I said 31-17. I said, look, nobody is finna get 20 points on us. I said that. Oh man, they always do this. They put them in the point. I was like, man, I don't care. They have not faced a defense like what they're gonna face this weekend. I said that, man. And to say we dominated them, man, it don't even put it mildly. They didn't even belong on the field with us, and we should have given up their 7 points. I was pissed about it. I was pissed about that. It should have been a donut, but they really got.
So let me, because I want to speak to the domination, because originally I had some pushback to it, right? Because Jackson State got 150 yards rushing, but they had to run the ball 51 times in order to do that. In my mind, that's not necessarily domination. And you know, Jacoby Morgan's stats were good. You know, he was 15 or 21 for 200 some odd yards. Though they were good, they weren't otherworldly, right? But in the context of what South Carolina was able to do, right? That's how you got to put it in context. What were they able to do in this game? And offensively, they weren't able to do much. So, again, though your offensive stats weren't otherworldly or it didn't denote domination, in my opinion, how you guys held down the South Carolina explosive offense, that surely was a dominating performance by the defense.
Well, see, here's where I beg to differ on the rushing attempts to the yardage and how it equates to domination. Because we dominated in every statistical category. So let me tell you how the yardage matter, right? Because, see, everybody want to focus on where Irv Mulligan and go off. Irv Mulligan is just one key in the running back room. The running back, we still ran for that many yardage. The game plan was to run for that many attempts. Because guess what it does? You know what that – so people look at the attempts to the yardage and see what the average is, and that equates to domination. But you left out a very missing important part to that. You know what it is? TOP. Because you dominate
time of possession.
So you know, so it ain't just attempts and yards and average. See, when you're rushing the ball for 51 times, that equates to time of possession. That's domination. And watch this. To prove my point even more home, to bring it home even more, when you talk about the main thing over everything that showed its hand in this game was the second drive in the second quarter. We had the ball for 19 plays, just under 10 minutes. Guess what the time of possession was in this game? The difference was 19 minutes. 19 minutes. So you go to that second drive of the first quarter, we had the ball for just under 10 minutes on that drive, get a touchdown, they get the ball back, they run about 6 plays, punt it back to us, and then we go on a 14-play drive, just under 7 minutes. That's why it's domination. Because that speaks to line of scrimmage domination, time of possession, and wearing their damn defense out.
And I think the pass selection of the quarterback was wonderful. When you're going 15 for 21, that's almost 70% of completion, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
And that's where you want to be. And we knew going into the game, we knew Jackson State couldn't put the game in the quarterback's hand, you know. But they did. What they did was they dominated defensively and offensively. But the offense is great when it has time of possession for over 19 minutes, because my defense is doing what? They rested.
Exactly. And it's a double-edged sword. So not only
what's a part of domination that people don't normally, you know, we go by numbers, but the numbers that you go by are different than 200 yards rushing and 400 yards passing.
Exactly. So, but I also say this to the other point, Rocky, is you got the rushing yards, you got the yardage, right? Because again, everybody looks at Irv Mulligan. We never said that Irv Mulligan is a great player, but if you always listen to us, we've always said what? We got the best running backfield in the conference, and we do. And so again, it was Cam coming, not Cam, Amari coming in, Amari Matthews coming in.
Yeah.
Held it down when Irv was getting the blow. You know what I'm saying? Then Desmond come in. Desmond get a whole bunch of carries, but Desmond was damn great in pass pro when he got in there. So it was collective effort, and we still got the thing. Is not the attempts, it's the yardage, because the thing is it added to the TOP, because what it also showed is what was the only thing everybody talked about South Carolina. The only thing they talked about was what? Their offense.
Yeah.
Their offense. That's all they talked about. Oh, they averaged this many points. Well, if we got 51 attempts, that's telling me your offense on the side of the field. And then when they on the field, they ain't producing. So we were dominant. This speaks to even more of a different type of variety of domination. Because last time I checked, starting the third quarter, we had more penalty yards than they had total yards.
Hey, and Rocky, baby, I thought maybe you would love 51 carries.
No.
I thought you'd be like,
no. So let me speak to what at a glance. Like, here's what I'm saying. There were several plays in the game that I thought if South Carolina could have stepped up, and it could change the complexion of the game. So the game was very competitive. That's what when you denote domination, it almost seems like you're saying that the game wasn't competitive. But I thought from a physicality standpoint, I thought the game was competitive. I just thought all the third downs were converted by Jackson State. Other than the 4th and 1, all the short yardage plays were converted by Jackson State. All the key moments in the game where you had to have it, Jackson State had it, South Carolina did. You know what I mean? Like, those are the kind of things that makes that the game didn't look like a 40-0 domination.
I beg to differ. I'm gonna give you a good analogy. I'm gonna give you a real good visual. It was 0-0 in the first quarter, right? To your point. But in that first quarter, we was like Floyd Mayweather. We didn't have a blemish on us. We body blowed the shit out of them in that first quarter. We just didn't get up with no uppercut or no left hook. But we jabbed the shit out of them in the gut. So they was hurt. They was hurt. We just didn't knock them down yet. But then second quarter came, we started left hooking that ass because them touchdowns started coming. But when SWAC T.O. got that last touchdown, it was a smoking Joe level. It was a knockout blow at that point in time. So it was like a heavyweight fight. We jabbed the shit out of them in that first quarter. We didn't knock them down, but we didn't have a blemish on us.
Let me ask you this, though. Let me just ask you this, because you're not Nostradamus. You're not. What surprised you about the game? Something had to surprise you about the game.
The only thing that surprised me, truthfully, was the fact that we didn't allow as many passing yards as we did. I expect to dominate them in the run game like we did because we done it all year. Our resume said we do it, and we did it this game. I'm not surprised with what we did. And South Carolina State, they aren't good running the ball. So the only thing that surprised me was being able to maintain the receivers the way that we did. But I'm going to tell you this, and I mentioned this earlier. The reason why I can sit here and I can talk crap now, but the reason why I was so confident, because I really want to say this. People in HBCU space, we got to learn how to pick and choose what we want to hold on to from the previous year. I'm going to tell you what I mean. So when it came to this game, everybody only want to go back to the Celebration Bowl when we lost to South Carolina State, right? But then just like everybody want to hang on to the fact that last year we lost to Alabama State and we lost to Alcorn, we want to give that way more credence. But we forget about the game we had at the first game of the season last year. We don't want to talk about that, though. We don't want to talk to. We played South Carolina State last year, and we beat their ass 33-7. Now, the reason why I mention that is I know people gonna say we're a whole different team. Yeah, you're the same team, but you could be a different team, but you got the same ingredients. What I mean by that is when Coach Berry came in, you brought in some players from Benedict, but you didn't bring in a whole bunch. Go look at both lines. Go look at the roster. Go look at both lines. Those same guys were there last season. Go ask them what we did to the O-line and D-line last year. We dominated them.
Yeah.
So what makes this game gonna be any different? And we're even more better, I think, at the D tackle position this year than we were last year. So I knew they weren't gonna run. So to answer your question, I was just more surprised at the way that we held them on the passing yards. But I didn't expect for him to throw for 300 yards. I know a lot of other people may have felt that, but I looked at their resume too. They didn't face a whole bunch of damn good defenses. They didn't. Yeah. So this whole thing about they're gonna put 35 points, I was like, on who? I had no doubt that they were gonna put that many points on us.
Now I don't know who on this show said they was even gonna score 20. I don't think nobody even said that.
No, I said because mine was 31-14.
Oh, let me make a correction. MEAC's athletic directors were at the Celebration Bowl. They just, make sure I put that in there. But I didn't think nobody on this show even thought they would score that. I knew we would score. Jackson State would get where they supposed to be at. But I think that they had the game under control the whole game. If at any one time in that game when it was 14-0, it was 14-0 for 3 quarters. Well, 2.5 quarters.
4.5.
Yeah. If they would have scored and went 14-7, then I would have been like, oh, whoa. And I think both teams came out and played hard. I think the difference is, and I'm gonna put my hand up, I was wrong about TC Taylor, was the game plan. I think TC Taylor them stayed with their game plan. We're gonna run the ball, we're gonna give it to our stallion, and we're gonna let Jacoby Morgan be the quarterback that we want him to be. Don't make no mistakes. The game ain't in your hand. The game is in Coach TC Taylor's hand. I thought Chennis Berry either got away from running the football because he went to no back early. And maybe like you said, Zoe, he went back and seen from last year that they went that how good you guys was up front. And he came out of that, and I didn't like the no back stuff that he was doing early in that game. I think he took his game plan and balled it up and started calling from the hip.
And one thing before you go, Rock, I want to mention this too, because one thing I don't tend to forget. I'll forget the tenor, right? When it comes to the conversation before the first game, because remember, we had just had the SWAC championship game. Jacoby didn't look all that hot. Remember, who's Coach TC going to play? Is he going to play Zai or is he going with Jacoby? Because Jacoby really ain't all that hot. I think if he plays with Jacoby in, you know what I'm saying, he might see him lose. And who's the best quarterback he need to go with? I said, oh, man, we're going to roll with Jacoby in. I was like, but Zai going to be ready to play and Cam too if we need him. But we're gonna win with Jacoby. And everybody was like, you really sure? I'm like, do a passer know his word? Of
you remember that, y'all asked me that question on Scotty's show, didn't y'all, Rocky? And what I said, who got you here? You got
hold on, Zoe. Yeah, Coach, pull your flag out. Cause wait a minute. Cause see, now listen, I'm gonna let you go mass meeting tonight. North Jackson takeover. But what you're not gonna do is get the congregation all mad at us. No. I'm not saying
it was y'all. I'm not saying it was y'all.
Yeah. Let's clear that up.
That's right.
Y'all. Because I clearly said there's no way that they are not going to start Jacoby Morgan. That's the guy who's going to play. And Coach said the same thing. Now, Rocky, I'm gonna let you clear.
No. My point.
I know. I said ain't no way he's going to sign
McDonald. I'm not saying that it was y'all. I'm saying, but that was the tenor and the energy before the game. Not necessarily y'all. I'm saying, but that's what the conversation was. That was the conversation going before the game. But and here's the thing, and I'll be quiet so you can go, Rocky. But go back and watch that game Saturday. Jacobian looked like what we call him, the general. 100%. He led that team, played flawlessly.
I watched the game twice. I came back and watched it.
Yeah, I watched it last night. It was on ESPN last night too.
I did too.
So let me. It was late last night too. But let me say this though. To that point. Now, what I said was Jackson State got 3 quarterbacks they can win with. That's what I said. Because I didn't think it really. Jackson State formula for winning didn't involve the quarterback playing otherworldly. You understand what I'm saying? And I think Jacoby Morgan. Now, what I will say is Jacoby Morgan played a game that he was totally within himself in every snap that he took. He never got out of himself. He never was hurried up or rushed. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So he played extremely well. But again, this game plan that Coach TC Taylor put together was the game plan I been wanting them to run all year. But for whatever reason, he in earlier games, even in the SWAC championship, he experimented with the passing game a little more than I would have liked him to. But I guess that's what he was doing early in the season, was experimenting with the passing game. So in these crucial moments, Jacobian would be comfortable passing the ball on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. And I think he threw strikes each and every time he was given that opportunity to on 3rd down. Go ahead.
That's only one part to that, though. But there's a reason for that, because you got to remember, we're down 5 receivers. So that gives credence to why we minimize the many passing attempts. So let me just tell you guys, like when it comes to our offense, we actually shoot for balance. You know, we have the type of team and roster that we want to throw for 250 and run for 250. We want that kind of balance, or close to that as possible. Throw for 200, run for 200. We have the roster for that. But we're down 5 receivers and a starting tight end. So you're going to minimize and constrict your playbook into some of the things that you want to do, because you're down so many players. Even the running backs, because, you know, we're down J.D. Martin, Ahmad Miller. We were down 3 running backs. You see what I'm saying? So it's restricted a whole lot. Not that we're the only one immune to it. I'm quite sure South Carolina State missing some guys too. But I'm saying, to that point about passing, we passed a lot more early in the season because we had starters that we, you know, in a plan of how we want that to look like. But what you see is a byproduct of attrition throughout the season. You're not going to see a quarterback throwing 40 times a game when you're down to your 5th receiver. That's just not going to happen. So you're going to restrict it. But and we played to our strength for what we got on the roster. That's what it was. But Jacoby, and that's why, again, you're due a bad game. You know, Jacoby didn't have his best game against Southern. But again, that speaks to the talent and recruiting. You put Zion, we go and we do our thing. And it's like, oh, because he didn't play great, that means we're going to forecast and say that he's not going to play great the next game.
Let me stop you right there, young fella. Look, you guys put Jacoby in a bad situation that Southern game.
Okay.
You came out, you start throwing it more than that, because you came back talking now, and you said, you know, y'all got a balanced attack. You had me there. But when you say the kid had a bad game, I didn't think he had a bad game. I thought y'all was making him do too much. Like, put the game on him, because y'all struggled a little bit running the ball at first. But then, you know, that wasn't his thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, he's a general. And I think you guys was putting him, you know, making him throw the ball. I think Rocky spoke about that a lot last week. So I just thought maybe y'all put him in a bad situation.
And I'll say this, though, and you can go back and look at the play chart. They restricted him to passing the ball on 3rd down this game, whereas in the Southern game, they were attempting to pass on 1st and 2nd down.
Well,
you know what I mean?
The thing, too, is that, but see, Southern's a different defense as opposed to South Carolina State. They saw on film of how they want to exploit that. But here's the thing. Now, I'm in the minority up here because I still think we win the game even if we don't pull Jacoby in last week. But that's just me.
Oh,
because
I think so, too. No, you ain't in the minority.
I think you win.
Ain't nobody thought Southern was going to beat y'all.
Not even close.
Hold on. I said I might be in minority. I can't speak for
y'all.
y'all.
Let's keep that straight, Coach. We
don't do alternative facts on this. Listen, I know. So listen, hold on. Let me say something. Now, so I know you're doing your media on every show. You know, like I say, you the superstar on every show. But when you come over here, we don't do alternate facts. It's the old folks show over here, bro. This ain't the young folks show. You can't run that game on the old folks over here, bro. You know, we got receipts over here.
I ain't young. I get that good insurance mail too now.
Okay. No, you younger than us. I'll tell you that. Now, hold on, you younger than us.
So
you ain't got no ARP. We got ARP cards over here.
That's what I just said. I got that good insurance mail.
Hey, unless they were gonna bring back a quarterback from the past from Southern, they wasn't beating y'all, and they would have had to bring out one of them LSU transfers they got back in the day. Hey, they would have had to get one of them guys if they had a chance to win.
Hey, but they had pig feet, ducktails, leprechauns, massage, sand, dust, smoke. Hey, none of that was gonna help.
And so at the end of the day, y'all ran for 300 and some yards that game. Ain't no way they were going. Jacobian, again, we said it. I think Coach said it exactly right. Y'all had him in a situation earlier game where he was doing way more than he was supposed to do. And I think the defensive line matchup against y'all offensive line in that situation was not as advantageous as y'all running the ball.
And you know, sometimes
because that quick pressure was bothering Jacoby. That's what I thought.
Sometimes that when you do play a team, and I know you guys walked in confident, Coach, that y'all were gonna beat Southern University. They weren't even averaging 19 points a game, Coach. Mm-hmm. And you know what I'm saying? And y'all knew, you had to know, and maybe that might have happened too. Sometimes you come in overconfident, let me work on some stuff, you know, and that kind of thing. And maybe that might have made the play calling a little different. You guys was on damn point last Saturday at 12 p.m.
Oh, for sure. Because again, like and TC spoke on it. You know what I'm saying? We got tired of hearing about them. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like no matter where you went to, it was like people want to, especially South Carolina State fan. And I'm like, look, there's an old saying. Steve may have heard it. He from Jacktown. There's an old saying we say, I might be from Mississippi, but today I'm gonna be from Missouri. You got to show me. And so at the end of the day, they were going to have to show me all the talk that they were talking. I don't believe it. I believe it. They want to prove it to me. Then you beat me. I'm gonna come to the middle field, shake your hand, say you got me.
Coach, let me ask you this here, because this is what is keep ringing in my head, Coach. I want to ask you this, and so you guys can answer this. Was this a South Carolina State team that had a bad day, or was the MEAC just bad this year?
Let me go, Zoe. See,
they had a bad day.
Yeah. See, but let's be honest. If you watch this game, and again, especially, and Coach, you know this, when you're sitting in a stadium, the TV doesn't give you a good perception of how much bigger people are. And when you sit down and look, and so because I'm gonna get to a point, and I looked at Jack State's offensive line, and I saw them little DNs for South Carolina State. I said, boy, this is about to be a long mofo day. Because Jack State was that much bigger on the offensive defensive line. And so I want to run on something because I remember you guys way back on, when the season first started. I think I came on with you guys because we were talking about the season. And you talked to me about, hey, Steve, we recruited all these offensive linemen. And I know that your main offensive tackle got hurt. Talk about the depth of that offensive line and how you guys were able to put a freshman in and y'all still didn't miss a beat. So I want you to talk about that matchup on the offensive line versus those defensive ends and kind of talk and give people the names of those guys that was on that offensive line that was kind of dominating.
I mean, when you talk about, Barton Mason, out of Memphis, and all of these, and every last one of these guys, every last freshman on lineman, they're all 3-star and they're all out of high school. Every last one of them. And so again, and that's one of the things that we mentioned on earlier this season when we talked about it. And that's why I would make the comment. I'll say, listen, I know coming from me, you'll say, oh, I'm JSU, so I'm being biased, but I'm a recruiting guy. So I always try to give context to it. I'm like, listen, you can sit here and say about, oh, everybody's recruiting at a better clip, but we've had a top 3 class in the country for the past 4 years. I need people to understand it.
How many freshmen y'all had on O-line, Coach?
We played 4 this year, all high schoolers, and they've all played this season.
But they weren't the starters.
No, they weren't the starters.
Okay.
And so what happened was Kurt Ford went out, put a true freshman out there.
All conference play. Now let's be clear. All conference Kurt Ford.
All conference Kurt Ford go out the game.
From Texas, Kurt Ford.
Yeah, he's from Texas. You sit there and you put a freshman out there and you just sit there and lock his side of the field down. Lock it down. Lock it down.
Because, Coach, you remember that was one of the things that we kind of highlighted because that was the question. We were looking at those all-conference MEAC defensive ends going against Ford, and that was part of the thing that we talked about. We also talked about Smith coming in. So that was the thing that I'm sitting up there because, again, this is the stuff that we broke down. We wasn't just saying this, that, and all the other. We were talking about player versus player. So when I'm sitting up there, I've got my chart out, looking at names, saying, okay, let me see what this guy's going to do. And when I just saw those start laying on those guys, and then on the flip side, those defensive tackles, when they start belly dancing and everything like this, hey, man, it was trouble. It was trouble, bro. It was trouble. So now, man, you saw just the size. And again, it was the same thing with family when we played last year. We were just that much bigger than Howard. You know what I mean? And you could just see it. So again, I think what I like compared to, and Coach, you can kind of talk about this too. When Alcorn played, North Carolina A&T had them big offensive linemen. They had guys that were going pro. You just saw that size. But now I see the SWAC saying, you know what? Let's get Jackson State especially. Let's get the big guys that can maul you and wear you down. And that's what and really that was the game, man. That was the game.
And also early in the season, we spoke to this. We actually went back to last season again because we try to highlight for everybody. Class of 2024. Well, it was actually starting in 2023, but we specifically said class of 2024, class of 2025. Mississippi is super, super deep in those particular senior classes. And so even we touched on, it was like, hey, we brought these freshmen in. They all played, and you got 2 that redshirted that didn't play. And so it breeds to what we're going to do next season. I mentioned to you, Rocky, about we're down 5 receivers. We lost our 2 starters early in the season after the second game. Lost the starting tight end. And attrition happens to every team. But what it speaks to, the reason why I always bring it up, because it speaks to recruiting. Everybody says next man up. That's a popular quote, but we don't just have depth. We have quality depth. I mean, when you talk about have the recruiting classes that we have, it speaks to it. Because, again, every coach, and coaches down there looking like he just got off from Foot Locker. Everybody knows we're going to put a freshman in the game, in a championship game.
Well, Zoe,
just not going to do that.
Let's be honest. If you have freshmen that have been, you got to understand, Zoe, this is really a championship game is really their sophomore year if they're freshmen. Because they've played enough games. Normal season was 10, 11 games. What y'all play, 14 games?
12. Regular season.
No, I'm talking about in previous years, it was 11.
Normal regular season is 11 games.
11 games. And you guys played 14?
Mm-hmm.
So these freshmen had some experience, got a lot of experience during the season. And so when you go out for a championship game, they're freshmen in class, but in experience, they have experience as a young sophomore. And
for sure.
And again, let me ask you this here, because I want to. This is a prime question, so get ready. How much does the profile that was built when Prime was recruiting that are y'all sticking with now that TC's the head man? You understand? I hope you understand the question. Like
Rocky, I can tell you this insider. 0.
Okay.
0.
Okay.
Let me explain to you why. And I know to the mass they'll say all BS. 0. You have to understand who's the coach. TC Taylor. I don't think people understand what TC Taylor is when I say that name. He's not just a former player at Jackson State. TC Taylor comes from the very tentacles of being under the W.C. Gordon tree. And for anybody who's a Jacksonian, you know what that means. Not only that, but then you have Otis Ridley, his right-hand man, who's the general manager, was also the assistant head coach, last year. They're a tandem. They are a tandem. And so when it comes, I just told you how deep the recruiting class are. You got a lot of former Jackson State players out in the high school ranks in the state of Mississippi right now. Go look at what we just did last week on the recruiting trail. It got Jackson State written all over.
I don't think you understand my question.
I'm making a point.
Answer that question again, Rocky. Ask.
So what I'm saying is, the type of player that you profile as a Jackson State player, are you sticking to that profile of a player under TC Taylor?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a whole different dynamic under TC Taylor from what it was under Coach Prime.
So y'all are looking for a different player.
Yes,
okay.
Totally.
Got it.
What you saw on display in Atlanta, Georgia on Saturday, that's W.C. Gordon, James Big Daddy Carson. Am I lying, Steve?
No, you're right.
So
I want to ask you a question, because we got a hard out at the top of the hour, and I want to give some historical context. How many players? Because this would have been Shadur's senior year. How many of those players are still that are freshmen? Because you understand, those guys that are freshmen are 3-time SWAC champions that are seniors. So how many of those guys that came in, and I'm just curious, that stayed with the program and are still, do you know, like, right? Because I think Petty would be one. I think because he's from
Deion Sanders.
Yeah, well, because they would have been this would have been their senior year.
They came in as freshmen.
No,
yeah.
I will say it might be 9.
Jency, I know Petty probably.
This is not.
Jency came in. He came in with Shador.
It was Jency. Jency, Petty.
Let me entwine. What
it was about 9 players.
Is are y'all looking for the damn Heisman Trophy winner? You know what I mean? Are y'all recruiting y'all recruit top players in the country? You know what I mean? That's pretty much. I thought, is that what you?
Yeah.
We getting those 3 stars, but we going after them 5 too.
But here's the difference. We're not really going after those out of the state of Mississippi. That's what I'm trying to holler to you. We're not. I know you may say, well,
that's what Rocky, I think, is saying. And you guys are saying we're focused on the state of Mississippi.
Yes, I'm saying we aren't recruiting we aren't really going after that much of a high-profile kid out of state. The only way we really, really do is if we have some form of an inroad out of state. But outside of that, whatever it is in the state of Mississippi, we don't give a damn what ranking this guy. We're going after that. And again, that has no bearing with Deion Sanders. They're going a whole total different frame because of the relationship they have and the tie-ins that they have throughout the state of Mississippi.
Wait, that's good. Let me finish my point, because I was trying to lead it. You almost led into it about the recruiting. Because if you can tell a kid from Mississippi, hey man, 3 of the 4 years we've been in Atlanta, we're SWAC champions. You come here, you playing for championships. And I remember, in the end, this kind of goes back. I remember that was the calling card for a lot of guys in Jackson Metro that didn't go to Mississippi State, that didn't go to USM, didn't go to Ole Miss. They were like, man, Jackson State winning championships. So I'm going to end up going to Jackson. And man, they used to kill down there in South Mississippi. So that's the reason why I was asking, is that the thing that now you guys are using in the recruiting that again, to your point about what Coach Carson, what W, you say, hey man, listen, you come here, we winning championships. You ain't got to go to Ole Miss. You ain't got to go to Mississippi State. We're playing big games, and you can see it online. That's what I was trying to get to.
But this is what I want to say, Steven, to Zoe, and this is kind of, just because they from Mississippi don't make them work the quarter. You understand? There was a standard, the kind of guys that y'all rolled out against Deion, when y'all had Deion, they were guys that could generally play anywhere, not just at the HBCU FCS level. So I was saying, well, y'all still sticking with that kind of profile as player to recruit. Not an FCS guy, a guy that can play anywhere.
Well, the thing is, and I'm telling you, we're going after small town Mississippi kids who a lot of people may think really can't go. They may look at and say, oh, that's a group of 5 FBS player. And TC and OC tell you, nah, bullshit, that dude could actually play on the FBS on a Power 4 conference. Y'all just overlook it because he's from Mississippi. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what Coach Gordon did.
So y'all taking chances. Y'all taking chances.
No, we're not taking chances. Mississippi is different, kind of like Louisiana in a sense. Let me give you an example. In Louisiana, a lot of your high-profile guys in Louisiana come from small 1A, 2A schools. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people may look at those 1A kids and be like, oh, he got 3 stars, but when I look at him, oh, I don't see him playing on the Power 4. He probably at best is this. But the problem is now you get his ass on campus and you sit there and develop him a little bit more. You say, oh, hell no, this dude here should be playing the damn Notre Dame so damn well. That's how Jack State got good. That's what they're doing.
Can I throw the flag for 1 second, man? And I know you're going to love this, Zoe. That TC Taylor put Deion Sanders' stuff to bed.
Oh, for sure.
About HBCU, TC Taylor did a great job. He got to the big dance. He showed up and showed out, man, in front of a capacity crowd. And you know, man, it made me SWAC proud. You know what I'm saying? Not against Deion, but the way you guys played the game, it was flawless. I thought you guys were ready. I thought the game plan was ready. I thought you stepped in. Even when you ran into tough situations, y'all still came out and handed that ball off and got everybody in there to play. So I was real proud of that, man. And look like y'all back to the Jackson State 80s. Because somebody, Zoe, you know, like about 6 weeks ago, Zoe, I said, man, ain't nobody beating Jackson State. They dominate. And then somebody gonna say, man, you mean to tell me they better than the 86 team?
Hey,
Hello.
Whoa.
Hello.
No.
Hello.
Wait.
Hello.
Wait.
Hello.
I'm gonna do you.
Hey, so we're gonna start getting on me. I said, I ain't talking about 86. They are dominating now. They can dominate.
10 draft picks, number 2 picks, number 1 picks. Now, ain't no look. These boys, listen, bro. That's a whole nother level on there. You gotta understand something. Them boys had 29 draft picks in 4 years.
And Steve, he still had the year on 87 that year.
No, I'm talking about what he said.
It's the 87. It's the 86 team, 87 draft.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Come on, man. And 87, man. Come on, man. No, Joe's right. But no, I'm talking about him. But Joe, I'm talking about that whole frame.
Yeah.
No. So no, no, sir. And this even go back to the prime when people talking about prime was doing the
Damn prime. TC Taylor.
No,
And
but
the
no.
team we got right now,
You not
and
them.
then the
Listen,
team we
bro.
gonna
Listen.
have.
No, you
No,
just
coach. The
man.
team we got
No,
right now.
actually have pro. Listen, no. Listen, no. You got the people in context. The point was, and it really started because I know what I said. What I said was because it really started from what they said Dion was doing. And what I said, and I still stand on this, and this goes for FAMU anybody.
It's still
Between
true.
85 to
It's true.
90, Jackson
true.
State damn near had 40 guys drafted in the NFL.
It's
That
true.
is unheard of. That's never going to happen again.
It's true.
First rounders, second rounders, stop it.
It's true.
TC Taylor, just let him sit in there, give him a chance, give him a shot. But they dominated. This is a new era. They dominated the conference, coach. They dominated black college football.
So let me ask you this: could this team compete with Alcorn, Grambling 2016, Alcorn 17 and 18?
They beat Alcorn easy.
Yeah, that'd be Alcorn easy. Alcorn control the ball.
That Grambling team had Kincaid and them boys, and they had NFL guys. Now that would be a war.
I'm gonna say this: that Grambling game, that's gonna be a game I would love to see. Kincaid was hell.
Yeah,
but them Alcorn team,
NFL guys on that team. Yeah, Grambling had NFL guys on that team. So now they would beat Alcorn. Now Alcorn was a champion, but they weren't a dominant champion. They weren't.
I'm talking about today.
No, we got it, coach. But no, but
okay.
all
right. Just say that. Just give me my little. Me my flowers.
I can't. No, because we can't. No, listen. You pull out the flag, but I want to make sure the context is correct. So Jackson State, I'm going to say this for the record.
You know the crazy thing about it? Hell, I was playing back then.
Exactly, so you know.
Yeah, I played against Burkett and Jackie Walker and Victor Hall and all those cats. They all went to pros.
Ernest Pate.
Yeah.
Come on,
so
man.
we had several on my team went to pros. They was coming out of the SWAC.
It ain't even. We got to. That era is going to be the golden era forever. That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. We can't compare the era. And this ain't.
And also, coach, I gotta say this too. During that time frame that Steve was talking, Jack State didn't lose a conference game for 4.5 years.
Coach, I'm telling you, I played fucking 5 years in them and then coached the other 5. That whole era, I was watching them.
So Zoe, you do realize y'all have lost 2 conference games in 4 years, right?
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. But hold on. You say 2 and 4 years. I say 0 and 4.5.
Well,
no. I'm just saying. No. Who's to say what you guys will do next year? But I'm just saying.
Well, I mean,
you guys went from.
That's. But I'm saying I feel you, but that's to be determined. We look the 87 team we talking about. They can't add to their resume no more. We still saying 0 and 4.5.
Yeah. So last ones though, and because I want to get this, because you're a recruiting guy. And I'm a Texas guy, so I know what status Prairie View has in Texas, right? I know what status TSU has in Texas, and there are probably 10 FBS schools and probably about 4 FCS schools before you get to Prairie View and TSU on the pecking order, right? What does Mississippi set in the pecking order in Mississippi as far as from a recruit's standpoint, not from the HBCU standpoint? I'm talking about from a recruit's standpoint.
What does Mississippi set for the recruits?
Yeah,
I mean Mississippi sets high.
are y'all back like old times? Do y'all get?
Are y'all on par with? Are y'all on par with Mississippi Valley? Or are y'all on par with Southern Miss? Or are y'all on par with State?
I can answer that easily. Right now, I would say we are on par with Southern Miss. We always have been. We always been on par with Southern Miss. We battle them for players, and we always have. When they're struggling, we tend to get recruits they go after, and if we're struggling, they end up getting the recruits that we're after. But there's an anomaly which you probably can understand because you're from Texas that we wrestle with, and that's called JUCOs. We have by far and away the best JUCO system in the country, and so we wrestle with that. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no flag on the play, coach. Ain't no flag on the play. You put that flag down.
Coach, Kansas got some great JUCOs, and California got 75 of them, coach. I've recruited all of them, coach. I've recruited all of them. So I'm talking from experience now. I've recruited every junior college in California. I worked in Kansas. I recruited every college in Texas as well as Mississippi.
Coach Cole, look, I don't care. Look, I don't care if you're scared of a tornado in Kansas or you like the avocados in California. When they come to get them championships in JUCOs, Mississippi run laps around. That's facts. That's facts. But but the thing is, we wrestle with that. But when you and then also too, when you look at the state of Mississippi from a recruit standpoint, Mississippi is a I used to live in Atlanta. I used to make this comparison all the time, right? Mississippi, land-wise, is just a smidgen smaller than Georgia, right? But then the city of Atlanta has more people than the whole entire state of Mississippi. Then you add to that, we got way too many schools. Way too many schools. Mississippi shouldn't have the amount of schools that it has. Because when I make this comment that I'm about to make, and Steve knows it to be true, when it comes to football in the state of Mississippi, Jackson State is the preeminent program in the state of Mississippi. When it comes to tradition, history, and lore of football in the state of Mississippi, it's Jackson State than it's everybody else. I know people may say, "Oh yeah," but I say, go look at the stats. Mississippi State hasn't never won a championship, never won an SEC championship. Ole Miss has won like 3 back in the 50s. They got 1 national championship. So the Misses had some success on their end in their conferences, and so has Delta State. It's Jackson State and everybody else. Now, Mississippi State almost get the players, you know what I'm saying, that they get because they're SEC and they're charter members. We understand our place in the lexicon of that. But lo and behold, when it comes to football history and prestige and everything else, Jackson State is an anomaly. And I'm not being biased or blue and white fan when I say that. That's just fact. So again, what Jackson State sits when we talk about recruiting, that's why I spoke to you about TC and Otis. Those relationships and those inroads, and Mississippi is ruled by nature. Jackson, even though it's the capital, it's a small town. Jackson's the size of Marietta. It's a small town. Jackson State can go anywhere in the state and get some damn good players. Always have.
I agree with you, but on the recruiting chart, Mississippi is way down there, Coach. I get you. And I'm going to look, I get you. But you ain't going to see a whole bunch of Mississippi State on some national championship teams. You're not going to see a whole bunch of players on these national. Now, you know, I give New Orleans, Louisiana, you know, a small city because, you know, they've been making some inroads. Not saying, and never, this is never saying that they're not no players. I ain't saying that. But when you talk about the blue bread recruiting areas, Mississippi is never mentioned.
I tell you what, Coach.
Never mentioned.
I tell you what.
Because you just talking about HBCU. I'm talking about national stage.
I tell you what. And Steve gonna film on this. You take the best of any state that you want. Any state you want. Take the best.
Y'all have Jerry Rice and Walter Payton. Nobody.
Oh, that ain't all we got. That ain't all we got. You take the best of any state that you want and put them up against mine, and I go to war with them.
In what position, though?
Hold on. I don't want to get too far in the weeds on this, but I'm going to give you some. No, hold on, because that's too deep in the weeds on that. What you about to do, right? What I will tell you this, and what Zoe is getting to, per capita, and you can go look it up. Per capita, Mississippi has produced the most NFL players over the course of the years per capita. So
I thought Louisiana was that.
No,
state,
I'm trying to tell
that's
you.
Right now. That's right now.
Right now. That's what I'm saying.
Right
But overall, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying to Zoe's point. But also and I want to get to what Coach was getting to. The thing that Mississippi has had an advantage in Jack State. When you're Rocky, you're in Texas. Listen to what you just said. Prairie View, Texas are down there, right? When you got Florida, FAMU all the way down here. It's only Mississippi State, and people in Mississippi don't even root for them. So that's the difference. When you in Texas, Rocky, you got your friends. They're Texas fans, Texas A&M fans, this fan, all that. Man, I went to Florida. I had so many people that were Florida Gator fans and doing all this, and Miami fans. And let me say this real quick so I get on this one tangent. Don't tell me who to root for when you Negroes are saying Roll Tide, root for Ohio State, root for Michigan. So I can root for Jack State. I can root for Grambling. I can root for FAMU. So don't tell me who I can root for when y'all out here root for these white folks. So I just want to put that out there. So rocking to that point, what Zoe is saying, that's why Jack State has always been interesting, because to his point is that they were able to go in there because of the racism, the history of not being great teams. See, you don't have that. So that's kind of what he's talking about.
So like I remember years ago, probably not that long ago, that I I'm trying to think of who it was, but I want to say it was either LSU or Alabama, and they had like 5 guys on the defensive line, all of them from Mississippi. You know what I mean? Like they had, like in Ole Miss and Mississippi State were really down during that time. I think it was Alabama when I really think about it. But anyway, they had some guys, and I was just wondering where did Jackson State in that pecking order of recruiting would it go? Jackson State would be above some of the out of state options, or would they be right there behind?
Well, depending. Well, I've seen it come and go. So right now, in the state of Mississippi, Jackson State can pretty much be in play to get wherever they want in the state of Mississippi. I can't speak for out of state, but in the state of Mississippi, Jackson can get what they want. Hold on. And when now Cumberland came, and Cumberland mostly recruited out of state and recruited JUCO. Now, when Judge was the coach, and I'm going back a little bit now, but when Judge was the coach, when Big Daddy was the coach, when WC was the coach, it was all Mississippi. They rarely ever went out of state. And when they did, it was Alabama or Louisiana, and that was it.
Memphis, Tennessee.
Memphis,
a little bit, but mostly it was Mississippi. So trust me when I tell you, they was getting it then. Trust me when I tell you. I tell you what, from a recruiting standpoint, right now, you look at every HBCU on signing day just last week. Every HBCU. Jackson State signed 11 kids, all high school, all 3-star, 11 kids, and they're probably gonna have about 7 kids to enroll next month. So I talked about that too. That's an anomaly because FCS programs don't do that. Go look and see how many North Dakota signed last week. Go look, and they're the flagship school of their state.
I mean, they don't have any football players in their state, bro.
I'm not saying for the state of South Dakota. I'm saying that's a national known program. They play for championships, and they still didn't sign that many players on signing day.
Because Coach, they just like you guys. They get those big kids out of North Carolina, South Dakota, and then they get a kid from Florida. They'll get a kid from Mississippi. They'll get a tailback. They'll get those type of skilled kids to go up there. They really, Coach, are like what you guys do. And Jackson State, I know has been recruiting out of Mississippi because they battle against Ole Miss as well as Mississippi State. And it's been that way. It's been that way for years until they let those coaches outside y'all's system come in there and screw it up. Would you agree with that?
So to your point, Rocky, if you go, like you mentioned the freshman old lineman, I implore you to go look at Kassan Burke, to look at his offers when he signed with Jackson State out of Ridgeland High School. Or you go look at Mason Barton when he signed with Jackson State out of high school last year. Go look at the offers that he had. The 6'5" the receiver that we got out of Florida, he was a 3-star receiver. Go look at the offers that he got. Go look at him.
And reason why I say that, because I'm a Texas guy, and I wish both Texas teams were much more competitive in the SWAC. But this is the problem in Texas. There's no 3-star that's going to choose PV or Texas Southern out of high school. They just not. They're just not going to start.
Y'all should have more 3-star. But see, that's what I'm saying. But if Mississippi's got 23 stars, y'all got 400. So how can they not get?
You got to understand. So you got to understand. We got probably every year, just the city of Houston is going to have 340 kids that go D1.
But I'm saying, but Rocky, you guys got 10 times the amount of people.
But we have just as much. We have a surplus of football players, Coach.
Slow down, guys. Slow down.
Go ahead.
Here's one thing: Mississippi is not a place where people go in and recruit. Texas, Florida, California, they rush that place.
Right.
Mississippi is just not a place that everybody set. They don't have to compete against Ohio State, LSU, Notre Dame, and people use Mississippi as going in there and getting those 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, and then they out.
Right.
Houston, Coach, they go down and set for weeks. Florida, they set for weeks. California, they set for weeks. Plus, like you just said, the schools that sit in Texas, the colleges that sit in Florida, the colleges that sit. The whole West recruit all the junior colleges in California. The whole West does.
But I guess what my question was, if it goes to Rocky's point, and this is why, and I said this to Lionel from Prairie View, you guys are in Texas. Prairie View should be good, coach. They should be good. There are a surplus of players down there. So again, to Zoe's point of what he was trying to say is, no, we don't need 4 and 5 star. And again, you don't need 4 and 5 star to win the SWAC. That's just a fact. You don't. So you're not going to tell me if you had, which again, we talked about Tremaine Jackson or somebody that had inroads and thought about what FAMU was doing. Let's get these guys that come back, or those 2-star good Florida players, because there's so many good 2-stars in Florida. Why Prairie View can't do the same?
Just hold your thought right there. Let me come right back.
But what I'm interested in as a P, my daughter's a PV student, and I always want, because when I look at PV's roster, probably 40 to 50% of their roster is out of state, right? And I'm like, why is that the case?
That makes no sense. That's bad recruitment. You're not going to tell me, man. You guys, that's what I'm saying. It's so. I'll give you this, Rocky. Your 1-star and 2-star player are probably better than a lot of states 3 and 4-star players.
So what am I wrong about, Isaiah? Please tell me what I'm wrong about.
Look, guys. Can I? Man, I did it. I did it. I did it. I know how to do it in Texas.
Did you do it? What I'm saying is, did you do it with Texas players, coach?
Yes, sir.
Where'd you get them from, coach?
My team was from Texas, and I only was there with 3 years.
Coach, where'd you get them from? Did you get them from high school?
Yes.
Or college or transfers?
And transfers.
Oh, okay.
I did it. High school, JUCOs, and transfers.
Well, that's the point. So listen, what he just said was the blueprint right there. So you're not gonna tell me, and he was at Texas Southern, okay, that won a championship. And so listen, that was 2 games on the schedule. That was automatic win. So the fact that coach won a championship should tell you that there are players in Texas.
All over there, coach. And the players I was getting on my transfers was former Houston high school players that I went off places and didn't make, and we were able to get some of those guys back. I had a safety from Minnesota, another safety from Texas, a defensive back from Notre Dame, a linebacker from LSU, several players from LSU that were Texas kids. And you're right. And you're right, Zoe. You're right. But Jackson State has always been that. Y'all have always dominated with Mississippi players because y'all could get the best. You know what I'm saying? And like you just said, Cameron, you're correct. It's so many players down there. Ain't no way that Prairie View and Texas Southern shouldn't be competitive. It ain't no way.
And
that's leading me to our next conversation.
Yeah, there you go. I'm about to say, I'm going to give you the transition. I know you're doing that. Go ahead, coach.
I need to, Rocky, you got my folks?
Yeah.
Man, look, guys, I'm throwing the flag up. I'm going to be a hater tonight. Johnnie Cole has admit that I'm going to hate on some folk tonight. All right? I'm going to hate. These celebrity coaches have worn me thin. These institutions and these people are making these choices on going out and getting these NFL players coming to run our schools. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. We're sitting up here and these people are supposed to be taking our state funds and our state money and going out and getting the best people they can get. And I'm reading an article and they're saying, we want this guy because he played NFL, because I don't want to use names. He played NFL. Well, he can run our team. All we need to do is go out and get him some experienced guys. I'm thinking to myself, well, we need to hire the experienced guys and give him the job and make him the face, like the PWI schools. No PWI school has taken a player with no coaching experience, none. I know the dude at UAB, I know y'all gonna say that, and brought him in to be the face of our program and have no coaching experience. That's never happened in PWI football. I don't know why that we do it. When you go to HBCU, are we not good enough to come back and coach our teams? Are we not good enough to be leaders and understand that we got skin in the game? That not only we want to win football games, we want to develop young people. I don't understand that. I'm bringing my guy on, my college roommate. He's a CEO of the Neighborhood Association California, over 800 employees, over shit. I don't know, Coach. How many millions you deal with, Coach?
120 a year operating cost.
And of course, I got the legendary Zoe on, who's the media guy. I got a businessman on, and Rocky, and I got a legend and a historian of Black college football, guys. What is happening to us that HBCU degrees, HBCU coaches are just not good enough to come back? But I want to push it over to my man Rudy. Kind of introduce yourself, Rudy Johnson. He's my brother. I love him to death. Coach, go, and we gonna get on this thing. I'm throwing flags.
Wow.
And
First of all, gentlemen, thank you.
I'm tired, Coach. I'm hating tonight. Hell no, they don't deserve our damn job. If you
Coach,
ain't
let's
got
just
no
say Michael
degree,
Vick. Coach don't like that. Michael Vick got that job in Norfolk State. I'm gonna say it. We talking about
you ain't
Michael
got
Vick
no
tonight,
damn
y'all.
college
Get your
degree,
people, call all your people in, because we get ready to talk about Michael Vick,
Coach
y'all.
said his name is Silky Johnson tonight. Hey.
I'm sorry, Rudy, but go ahead.
No.
I'm hot tonight. I'm hating.
It's all good, Coach, and thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you, and fellas, I've been listening to the conversation. First of all, just kind of putting on my business hat. When you create systems, they need to be solid. They need to be flawless. They need to be excellent. And systems start at the very top of a system. So you're looking at individuals that set policy for the organization. That's generally your board of trustees. They hire a general who usually is the president of the university. They in turn have several direct reports. I'm assuming in most structures, the AD will report to your president of the university, and then the AD selects the suite of coaches. So when we're talking about issues like this, and Johnny, I say this to you all the time when we're talking in private, this is not an isolated issue where you're trying to hire a particular coach. In most cases, it's a flaw in the system, and it starts at the top. And so when you ask questions like, why can't HBCU alumni come back and work inside of an institution that produced them? It's usually because policymakers aren't embracing that concept on that campus, point blank. No other reason for it. That is the issue. Now, is that good for Black college football? I'm going to listen to you all debate that. But I think anytime you can have someone that has sweat in the game, that is giving blood, sweat, and tears to the game, and has matriculated through an institution, is going to naturally have that passion, that focus for the institution coming back as a coach or an AD or a president for that matter. So that's my first take on what you said, Johnny. And I understand the passion and disappointment that you have because, again, we talk offline all the time. I would love to do more stuff for Texas Southern. There's not a day I don't think about Texas Southern in my professional life. Here's the problem. I don't know if Texas Southern thinks about me. They don't even know what I'm up to, right? And that's the problem with our HBCUs. They don't understand the gold that they have to mine out there in the world, folks matriculating from these institutions. We don't do a very good job of staying in touch and staying connected to them. So I'll stop there and listen to the dialogue and love to weigh in.
Well,
all right.
Well, like I mentioned in regards to, like I mentioned to the hiring, I think two things can be true. Like I stated, I'm pro HBCU and I'm pro, HBCU coaches coming up through the ranks. But, and like all things, there are outliers. And I think a lot of time we like to deal in things being black and white, but in this particular situation, there's some gray area for this particular job. And I'm gonna use Michael Vick for an example because again, I may be in the minority. I don't think Michael Vick can go to any particular HBCU and everything will be the same. Will it generate buzz? Sure, because of who it is and the name. But when it's this particular job at this particular location, who he is, what he is, and where he's from, and what he's going to do for that particular place, and it's the institution in mind. I have to say that because that matters, right? And I'm gonna give you an example. Like I asked earlier, I was like, okay, Michael Vick at Pine Bluff, does it raise eyebrows? Sure, because it's Michael Vick. But this is different when you say Michael Vick at Norfolk State, because again, number one, it's the recruiting hotbed. Now, Rocky mentioned earlier, we talk all the time about what California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia, right? But when we talk about a concentrated area, man, it's South Florida. And I'm gonna tell you, I put 757 against a lot of places.
That Tidewater area has some elite talent.
When you talk about concentrated area and when it gets to the college ball and to the potential to the NFL, also look who's associated and tied to Michael Vick in this. He's a lightning rod. Deion Sanders was a lightning rod where it was me as a kid, but more or less my parents, but me. Now it's different because this is like Deion Sanders, but it's different because these players who play now, they've seen Michael Vick. They grew up, on the tail end of him playing. They saw it. And again, he's not as big as Prime, but yet he's still a lightning rod. And now you add to the fact he's from there. I told Scotty today, and I'll pass it to you, Steve. You got two examples of this, right? Kind of sort of three with Eddie Robinson at Alabama State, but Eddie Robinson wasn't a well-known player if you wasn't a football novice. I go to Deion Sanders and I go to Eddie George. I put Michael Vick in the middle of that. Michael Vick isn't Deion Sanders, and he's not Eddie George. And I say this because Tennessee State made a great hire with Eddie George. But Eddie George, watch this, played for the Tennessee Titans. He lived in the local Nashville area, so he was immersed to Tennessee State because he did business with him. Michael Vick is different because Michael Vick is homegrown, homebred in this area. Went to Virginia Tech, but he's from this area. He has ties to Allen Iverson. Aaron Brooks is his cousin. You know what I'm saying? Plus all these other players. It just makes logical sense. The closest thing I can make an example of this, and I mentioned this to Scotty, was this is basically Penny Hardaway coaching at Memphis. The only difference is Michael Vick didn't play at Norfolk State. But it matters because Norfolk State doesn't have a football pedigree. They've never won the MEAC. It's not like they're a blue blood or have any back tradition once a long time ago, yesteryear. Their greatest coach in their history won 60-something games. I mean, they got tarp over the seats for crying out loud. So to your point, I think hiring Michael Vick is good on both ends. And to be honest, they're in a lose-lose situation in doing this because nothing from nothing leaves nothing, right? They have nothing to lose and everything to gain in doing this because quite frankly, he's going to leave the job better than he found it, even if he really does anything because of the program where it's
one of the things they're gonna lose, they're probably gonna pay him about $300,000, and they're gonna probably give him 4 years. That's $1.2 million. I think you're gonna lose that. But go ahead, Bishop.
Yeah, well, I want to ask Mr. Johnson, we got on here from a business standpoint, because this is a business decision. And I'm going to give two examples from a sports analogy, but then I'm going to ask you a business question. Because I think this is a question to Coach's point of talent versus fit, okay? So I'm going to use Sam Shade at Alabama at Miles College. He's a coach at Miles College, and there's an opening at Alabama A&M. That's a fit. That's a fit. He doesn't have the name as Michael Vick, but that's a fit. Now, with Norfolk, who has had the last 5 coaches who have not had any winning records, that's a talent. So, Mr. Johnson, you've been in the business. How many times have you had this decision where you have a position that's open and you have a person that works for you that has worked that job compared to somebody that you read their resume but doesn't actually know the job, but you see they have talent to do the job? How do you make that delineation? Because I think that's where we're at right now. Do we have somebody who's been here that's kind of known? And I'm using Sam Shea, who I think will be a perfect fit because he's in Alabama, been there, will be perfect compared to Michael Vick, who has a talent to bring a resource to what's talking about. So that's the reason why I want to bring Mr. Johnson in, because I've had to face that question. So that kind of brings you into that from a business standpoint.
And Rudy,
No, absolutely.
Rudy, let me give you the background on Sam Shade. He played on that University of Alabama state championship team. He coached at Mount College now. He's from Alabama. He coached the team to the state title in Alabama. So he has plenty of Alabama ties and been coaching. So go ahead. I'll just give you the background on it.
So thank you for the question. I'm just going to answer the question purely from a business lens because I think that's what you want me to do. I'm your business expert tonight on the show, and I'll let you all handle football. So thank you for that analogy. We have had several opportunities to grow what we call our bench strength inside, right? So as a leader, I'm always looking to grow my bench strength for the very reason you just described. Someone may get an opportunity to move outside of our agency to take on a different role, different position. We want to grow that bench strength so they can step in and fulfill that position. 2 business reasons why you want to do that. You invest a certain amount of money when folks come into your system. You have to train them. They have to go through orientation. They have to have a year of just understanding how we're moving and working as an organization. So you want to retain those individuals as long as you can, because if you lose them, you have to start the process over and reinvest in a new person from a business perspective. Continuity of care, right? Continuity of care on the football field, it would be about coaching and playing and things of that nature. In the business world, it would be about not losing efficiency. So to your question, I'd rather hire internally if we have that individual that I've been grooming as a potential bench strength individual that will come and step in versus fully going outside. Now, there's one caveat. The caveat is if we've invested, we've tried to grow bench strength, and we just don't think they can step up, right, to that level of responsibility, then I hire outside. But I make damn sure that outside hire is everything that I want, because we are taking a huge risk on that individual. So I hope I answered that from a business perspective, but I think you can draw the analogy to football because it's the same damn thing.
Let me just hold on, wait. Let me just real quick, because I wanted, because he made, this is why I'm glad from a business.
I'm throwing flags.
No, but hold on, but he asked the question, because I'm going to go back to you, because that's the thing.
I want to ask
because listen to what he said, and we're talking about bench. So what Norfolk had done, to Mr. Johnson's point, they had a bench. They had gotten coaches. They had coached. They knew what they were doing. Things like that. They had tried that. It was not successful for Norfolk State. That's what I'm talking. I want to be very clear. So now, to his other point, they're saying, hey, let's try something where a guy with talent. But here's the thing where I think Mr. Johnson said, and I think we saw this with Deion Sanders. When you do not have that experience, it starts to show. How many times did we see Deion Sanders in game situations didn't make the right call? We saw it at Colorado happen a lot, actually, because he never had coached. He had never been in those positions, and we didn't see him. So my thing is with Michael Vick, to your point, Coach, he hasn't been in a situation like, Coach, you would know what to do in 4th and 3. You would know what to do in 2nd and 7. He's going to have to ask somebody. Those are the things that the balance that I guess the question comes in at. With Sam Shade, with the fit that I'm talking about at Alabama A&M, it's a perfect fit. He's in that area. They know him. They believe it, and he has the talent. But I don't think Sam Shade would translate over in Norfolk State, Coach.
I want to add to I want to add to the analogy, because it's something you left out some very important things, Steve. So, Mr. Johnson, to that analogy,
sure.
But I want to add to this same business model that you're talking about. We got to add to that. This is your business, and it's been your business for some years. But you've been bleeding money for the past.
I've been what?
You've been bleeding money in the red for the past 6 years. Bleeding money. But also, have you been bleeding money? The thing is, you're bleeding money, but now I'm looking at some resume, because now I'm in a fork in the road. I'm tired of bleeding money. I'm in a fork in the road, and I got to make a decision. So instead of just saying the analogy that we got somebody that I've been training, because how I'm going to be grooming somebody, and I'm going to roll with somebody that I'm grooming, and I've been bleeding. He been with me while I've been bleeding. So if we all been losing, right, in this analogy, the person I'm grooming been with me while I'm bleeding money. It's almost like the blind lead the blind. But again, I still see a little hope that I could change and he could give us some prosperity, because my company has been in the red for as long as I had it. But now there's somebody over here that I know we may not win the way that I want us to, but he gonna get us in the black. We might not become a Fortune 500 company, but he gonna get us in the black. Even if he decides to leave the company will, instead of being on rough waters, it'll be calm waters when he leaves. That's the difference.
So I'm gonna give you a couple answers. Thank you for triggering a couple thoughts. Number one, you can't be a successful president and CEO of any company if you're living in the red all the time. That's number one. I'm not who I am and doing it for 17 years. Number one is because I went to an HBCU. Let me be clear. Okay. But number two, I manage my company checkbook like I manage my personal checkbook. I don't overcommit on the expenditure side unless I understand revenues coming in, right? And that's how you run your personal finances. That's how you should run your business. So, number one, shame on the institution for letting an AD or a head coach perform in the red for multiple years. That is a strategic blunder and an infrastructure issue. And that goes back to that policy body that I started off with. That's number one. Number two, one of the big points I said, the big but was, if you're trying to build your bench strength in-house and you're pretty sure that you don't have that individual that can step up and take on that level of responsibility, that's when you decide to go externally and bring in that hire. So I hear your point, Coach, but I guess the only thing that I would say to you is no one should be allowed to operate in the red for over 6 months, because then you're starting to go underwater and you're subsidizing your operation.
One thing, Coach, before we go, because I don't want anybody to attack none of us. I'm using an analogy. Norfolk State is not in the red. I'm using an analogy. I don't come attacking everybody saying we say they manage for money. No, that's not the case. We're just using that analogy.
And that's why I'm not naming names or universities or anything. I'm just saying, from a strict business perspective, you would never manage in the red. You just don't do it.
So I would like to kind of shift the analogy, Rudy, if possible, right?
Sure.
Say they're not operating in the red, but say they have a warehouse, a 100,000 square foot warehouse, and their market share doesn't require them to hold that much inventory at one time, and the warehouse in and of itself is a liability, not because it's a warehouse, but just because it's so much space to maintain on your books. You know what I mean? Wouldn't it be prudent to make some type of innovative move to gain market share, even if it isn't profitable right off the bat, but capturing that market share justifies the expense of holding that warehouse? And in that case, right, that keeps you out of the red. You understand what I'm saying? Because eventually holding that asset and only using half of the space is going to run you in the red over time, right? And so what I'm saying is, can't you give Norfolk or somebody else an opportunity to capture market share, even if there's a significant business expense to it, but you got to give them a chance to capture market share, because without it, you're doomed anyway.
Yeah, yes and no. Number one, let me say, asset growth is only good if you're gaining equity as that growth goes, right? So you can hold on to an asset that you may not necessarily need, to your point, as long as you're growing equity in that asset and it's keeping pace with your expenditure. Then that is a positive. If you have an asset that is really stretching you financially and there's no equity growth, then my recommendation is you sell that puppy You downsize and then you grow organically when you're ready to grow. All right. So that's number one. Number two, I've always been of the opinion that I'm conservative by nature, coach. You know, I'm conservative with my personal assets. I'm conservative with the business assets. So I live under my means personally and from a business perspective. And when I've gained enough in my reserve, I always keep a little money in my pocket, as we used to say back at TSU. Once I'm ready to make a move, I take my little pocket change and then we reinvest into growing and scaling the operation, which could involve buying a bigger asset, coach. So
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I think coach was right when you said, is it okay to keep an asset you can grow into if there's equity growth along with that? The answer is yes.
Or if you're landlocked with the asset, if your business operates on that property, right? You can't just sell the property because it's, and this is what I look at schools in this regard.
Mm-hmm.
A school is a situation where they're kind of bound by their own confines, meaning that they only can operate within their own operation, and there's only a limited things they can do to kind of build their brand, expand market share, become more popular, create. You know what I mean? They can't go out and do anything. So the one thing they can do from a football standpoint to create energy within their fan base, one of those things is hire a coach that generates energy, right? Okay.
Yep.
And especially in a situation where you've tried winning through traditional means, right? By hiring a Dawson Odoms that comes from Southern, who has had a winning program at Southern, and you hire him and you bring him in and you hire him for 4 years, and your program is essentially worse off than it was when he arrived. Like, you can go through the traditional means, but at some point, I think schools are restricted as to what they can do. So there has to be a wild card. They have to introduce a wild card or take a chance, so to speak, in an untraditional fashion. How do you manage that in business?
So number one, I told you I'm conservative in nature, baby. I'm gonna tell you this: if I'm investing $100,000 or $200,000 a year in an individual, I want to make sure I'm getting $100,000 or $200,000 return on their productivity. You know, if not, I'm evaluating them year over year, and at some point, I have to separate the relationship if it's not benefiting the organization. So that's just off the rip. I'm gonna tell you, I'm not going to invest in a 5-year, $200,000 contract, and I'm not getting a return on that in the second or third year, because then I'm going underwater and I'm subsidizing that when I can just cut ties, regroup, and fix that. So that's number one. Okay. Number two, I would say this: if we have a reserve fund, and I knew this was going to be what I call a loss leader to begin with, which is where I think you're going, coach. Like, hey, I told the board, I'm going to subsidize this thing for 5 years and I have the money to do that, then that's a different conversation. But I don't think that's what we're talking about when we're talking about these employment contracts. I think the expectation is that the coach is going to generate revenue through his performance to bring back that return on that initial investment. I think that's what the contract is all about.
Come on,
Absolutely.
Coach Cole. Come on, Coach.
Let me talk now.
Yeah.
All this bullshit and all this kind of stuff. Nobody has no fucking idea of what Mike Vick here. I love Vick. I was impressed with him. He was a hell of a football player. And all the rest of the celebrity coaches that's coming in here with no coaching experience, no NCAA rule violation, don't know nothing about Dawn Patrol, don't know nothing about scholarships, don't know nothing about Pell Grant, don't know about working with scholarships, don't know nothing about working with young people. It just don't happen, man. We had a guy named Michael Haywood, was a great friend of mine, coached at LSU, Michigan State, Pitt. National championship team, came to Texas Southern and got his head beat in. Nobody knew how much. And matter of fact, he won the MEAC conference in Miami. We had another coach called Coach McKinney, coached at University of Houston, coached at Texas A&M, coached at U of A. He came in and got dusted. Now we're saying that we're going to bring a guy in, to me, that I read up on Michael Vick. And I hate to this is not a Michael Vick put down, believe me. But since he damn on the damn fire, I'm going to turn him and throw some some barbecue on him and all that. His own book, he says, I never really studied the plays. All I did was came to the meetings and went to the meetings through my playbook in my back pocket or in my car, and I drove off. And when the game started, if the primary guy wasn't open, I just took off and used my talent. Okay? When he was at the University of Virginia Tech, I know some guys there. He went to class with a Sharpie, not with a pencil, not with paper, with a Sharpie, to sign autographs and move on. What am I saying? I'm saying that Michael Vick wasn't a cerebral kind of guy. I didn't say he wasn't smart. I didn't say he was dumb. I say he wasn't a cerebral type of guy. Now we're talking about, okay, he's from this area. I want to know, why should we give him the job? What have he done? Does he got skin in the game? What has he done for Norfolk from coming from the Tidewater area, going to Virginia Tech, going to the NFL? And when he's came back, what have he done for Norfolk? He don't deserve the job. He's done nothing for Norfolk besides being a graduate there.
Here's the thing. I'm
talking right now. God
Go
damn.
ahead.
I'm talking. And I hear people on this thing talking about recycle SWAC coaches. Well, damn it, they recycle championship coaches all the time. We catch a phrase and then we run with it. And then that's why Eddie Robinson said it 20-some years ago when I was on the bus riding. It says, when these people get in these situations and don't know nothing about college football, our programs go down. Zoe, you attested it. When we went and hired Coach Bell at Jackson State, who went over there and started talking about, oh, well, these kids ain't this and these kids ain't that. The program went to dirt. Correct?
Yeah.
Went to dirt. Guys, we got HBCU coaches who have put skin in this game, who deserve that. We got 40 HBCU schools.
Eric Dooley, coach. That's one name I put on there. Eric Dooley.
Where he just had bad time. He was recycled several times, coach. He was on some championship teams, and when they thought he could be in control, he went down. All right,
coach.
Man, don't mess with train of thought up. I'm in this thing. All right. So, guys, we got 40 schools to give head coaching jobs to. Okay, 20 blacks, folks. We always got to make the change. The white folks got 25 PWI schools. We still at 10%. Then we got another Division I AA schools we ain't hard at. And then we got Division II schools we ain't hard at. Then we got 3 Division III schools we ain't hard at. So tell me, HBCUs were built for us. I know times are different now. We can go to other schools, but they ain't changed. So why should we? In leadership roles. And I think, and you correct me, Mr. Johnson, that when you're the president, the board, the AD, you have a physical responsibility, all right? You have a responsibility to make sure that we go out and hire the right people for our student body. Not coming in and talk about, oh, well, we'll just put a coaching staff around him. Well, you know what PWIs do for that? Like Vincent Young, he works for University of Texas because he won the national title. Earl Campbell, these guys, they put them in those places to go raise money. That's what they do. But don't be telling me, I'm a college football coach. I'm a damn good coach. So what you guys are telling me is that the championships I won and the stuff I have done don't mean nothing and ain't about nothing, because anybody could do that. And
No,
anybody
I
can.
don't think Coach. Okay, so I'm
No, I'm done.
Yeah. So listen. So I'm gonna. This goes back to my point about fit versus potential and talent. So here's the thing: Dawson Odoms won championships. He won division championships, right?
Right.
You will agree, right?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. And I put that in there. Their last 5 coaches who all had coaching experience finished with losing records.
From
Okay?
HBCU, Steve, from HBCU.
From HBCUs. Dawson Odoms, who had a hell of a track record at Southern, they brought him up there and paid him a lot of money. And he finished with an overall losing record. So if you have a program, now, further, we're not talking about the Blue Bloods, okay? We're not talking about Jack State FAMUs and things like that that could have depth and things like that. And we're talking about a school that has nothing to do with it. This is not a football school. Never thought about football. So what do you do? Because, Coach, I'm going to tell you this. If you are, let me ask you, if you're Sam Shade, Teddy Keaton, Tremaine Jackson, would you take that job or would you take the Prairie View job?
Well, one of them would take the Prairie View job.
Okay.
And the other two,
Wait a minute. So
you
you
said
just
what
proved
I'm
my
saying.
point. Okay, listen. If you were the coaches that had the ability, what I just said, there is a job. There are 2 jobs that are open, the Norfolk job and the Prairie View job. You just said you would take the Prairie View. Exactly. That is what Norfolk State is also dealing with. Just don't say they can go get the greatest guy when there are other
Damn,
jobs.
Coach, you're looking at the greatest guy.
Well, no,
That's bullshit.
Okay.
You can go get a Sam Shade. You can go get.
But Coach, Sam Shade is not going to listen. You're proving my point, Coach. Sam Shade is. If I'm Sam Shade, there's no way I'm taking the Norfolk State job versus Alabama A&M or versus Prairie View. Those are better fits for me.
Coach, so you can't put him at them schools right now. Today, he's at Miles College, a Division II school. He would go to Norfolk State.
He would take that, Coach.
Steve, I'm gonna say this, Coach. Steve, you're going about the wrong way. I'm gonna prove the point to you. Okay, Coach. In your whole soliloquy, you asked a great question, but you asked the wrong question. Your question was, what has he done? Right? That's what you asked.
Big done.
But here's the thing. As an AD, that's the wrong question. First off, what school is this? It's an HBCU, right? What are HBCUs known as? Low resource institutions. Right or wrong? Right or wrong?
But there's rumor.
Right or wrong? Here's the thing. You asked what did he do. The question is,
let me say something. Now, I'm going to introduce you, so let me tell you something. I had 7 scholarships at Lane College. 7. And I beat everybody in the conference. So don't tell me about the money. If I got a football field that's 53 yards wide and 100 yards long, I'm going to win.
Coach,
bullshit about no famous guy because I played in the NFL.
Everything that you're saying is doing this right here. It's going over your head. Let me tell you why. It's not just about wins and losses. That's what you're not getting. You ask the question, what has he done? It ain't what he's done. It's what he can do. It's what he can do. So here's the thing. Prime said it. What constitutes as a win? See, for Norfolk State, it ain't just wins and losses in the win and loss column. It's what he can do for the trajectory of the program. Norfolk State is a perennial loser. Winning ain't just going to change their problems or what Michael Vick is going to do for that program. I guarantee you, Sam Shade could go to Norfolk State. He can have 2 undefeated seasons, and he still won't do what Michael Vick can do with 8 wins. That's a fact.
That ain't no fact.
Yes, it is.
It ain't no fact because he ain't in Norfolk, and he ain't won that one game. It ain't no fact.
Sam Shade cannot change the perennial outview to the nation. He cannot. He can't.
I disagree, Coach.
Hey, Coach Cole, you and I had a brief conversation. You and I had a brief conversation yesterday.
You know why? Hold on, let me talk. You know why I disagree, Zoe? Eddie George just won the championship, right?
Yeah.
You know how many people they had at the championship game? 1,500. 1,500. So what dynamics had he changed? Matter of fact, the school. Hold on. The school is broke. They pay him $469,000. They play both coordinators $120. The lowest coach on their staff is making $65. That's at any black school. That's hard at any black. So hiring Eddie George, this celebrity coach who took 5 years to win the championship, the school is broke. 4 years. Okay, 4 years. The school is broke. So tell me, how have he helped Alabama, Tennessee State.
Okay. Well, I'm not see you saying school. I can tell you what he did for the football program. So with the football program, because let's speak about the changes that he's done. Okay, they got new turf in the indoor practice facility, new weight room, and the upgraded facilities. They got upgraded, added training table because they didn't have it before he got there. They got training tables since he's been there. They got brand new turf fields since he's been inside the indoor practice field. They're in talks.
They didn't have that, coach. That was in the
No. I said they put new turf in the indoor practice facility. They did. They put new turf.
And you think because of Eddie George?
Hold on.
You know I work there, so I'm gonna make some calls.
And he won, coach. He played on national television.
You asked me what has he done.
But my man said winning don't matter. He said winning don't matter.
That ain't what he said.
No, I didn't say winning don't matter. I did not say winning don't matter. I said winning isn't the only thing that matters. That's what I said, and it's true. It's true. It's just like I tell you what. It's just like when you got you. It's just like if you married and got your old lady. Love ain't the only thing that's gonna sustain you. Same thing. Same thing. You got to do more than just win. See, yeah, winning keep you on your job. Winning just keep you from being promoted to customer. That's all it does. But you got other responsibilities outside of it. And if you ain't elevating that program, because again, we're talking about Norfolk State. I mean, they like Dallas for crying out loud. Ain't nobody talking about they got tarps over all the seats in the stadium. Seriously. So Michael Vick already right now, before this announcement today, you and I, nobody on the screen would have ever said the words NSU nowhere. You know it, I know it. Ain't nobody talking about no Norfolk State.
And I said this though. I said the publicity that Norfolk State will get from just hiring Mike Vick, they couldn't even afford the publicity and marketing that is going to cause just the sheer hysteria, popularity, the news reports, all that. They couldn't afford the publicity that hiring Michael Vick is going to cause. It ain't even hit mainstream media yet, and it's all over. It's the talk of HBCU. Once it gets known in mainstream media that the icon, the sports icon, Mike Vick is the head coach of Norfolk, essentially Norfolk State, where his hometown is, it's gonna take over the sports.
What I just said, you guys are talking about and what you think is gonna be and what you think is gonna be done.
Coach, if
you got Eddie George, that's a Heisman Trophy winner, have went to Tennessee State, and I just told you guys, you guys are right. I guess winning don't mean everything, because at the championship game, they had 1,500 people.
But Coach, you're comparing the profile. Wait a minute, Rocky. Hold on. Because let's get it back. Because we have a guest here that I think brings value.
Well, we're gonna let him. He said he was gonna sit back and evaluate.
Okay, well, hold on. Well, Coach, let me ask you this. Hold on. So you're telling me, because we got to keep this in context.
Yes.
That Eddie George has the same known Q rating and profile as a Michael Vick.
That's it.
Yes.
No, Coach.
Even more. He's a Heisman Trophy winner.
No, Coach. Coach.
You guys are down south. Y'all down south. Eddie George played at the Ohio State. Are y'all crazy?
There's no such thing as the Eddie George experience.
Yeah, Coach. No. Eddie George. No, Coach. Listen. No, hold on. Wait. I'm gonna tell you this.
Michael Vick is bigger than Eddie George.
Wait, Coach. Hold on. I will tell you. Listen, Coach. I will say this, and this is somebody, and we put it on the screen. And I'm telling you, I have been around Eddie George personally. Coach Eddie Rob confirmed that. I have been around Michael Vick personally, and we put it right. Did we not put it on the screen? And I'm telling you, from a marketing standpoint, because this is what Norfolk State, to Zoe's point, this is a marketing play also. This is a value of marketing, not a coaching play, Coach. Because if you're saying, because clearly he's not the most qualified coach. This is a marketing play for Norfolk State. But you're not going to tell me for Michael Vick, for this generation, millennial and Gen Z that's below them, that they played a video game with this guy, that run around and little kids will run around with 7 jerseys, that man in that area is not going to carry more weight than what Eddie George carried. I'm just telling you.
I'll tell mine. Eddie George is a Heisman Trophy winner. He's an all-pro running back from the Ohio State. And y'all telling me that Michael Vick is a bigger draw than Eddie.
Which is a more high profile position?
Let me say this.
Wait a minute. Which one is a more high profile position? Being a quarterback or being a running back? Let's start there.
As being the number one running back in the NFL.
No. Well, wait a minute. Michael Vick was the number one pick. As a black man,
no, you guys are Southern guys. I get.
No, coach.
I'm on top. I know where the Ohio State.
You wouldn't even consider Virginia the South.
Hey, Rudy,
I'm trying to, coach, because I'm going to nail you down on this. Because I'm not going to let you run from this. Because here's the thing: this has nothing to do with Southern. Michael Vick has nothing. This is not a regional thing. Michael Vick for black people at a certain age group. No different than Deion Sanders for my age group. Rocky's here because of Deion, because we grew up with Deion Sanders. Okay? So I know the hysteria that Scotty and them, oh my God, Michael Vick. Because when Deion came, I was super excited because I saw this man do things that another athlete never did.
He brought the culture to the sport. Like, see, that's the two things that Mike Vick and Deion Sanders have in common.
Vick for Norfolk State for the last have never had a winning season, coach. And we're sitting up here having a conversation that you're animated about him. If this was Teddy Keaton, we talk about this 30 minutes and move on.
Time out. I think that's where y'all missed my point. And let me make sure my audience know. I'm really speaking of HBCU graduates that's in this coaching realm and how we are not taken serious. And that's why, and I talked with you about that, Zoe, right? I really want to move Michael Vick out the picture. See, now it's about Michael Vick. And I definitely, first of all, I'm for all brothers making it. All right. So I didn't want to get here. Did I talk to you like about that, Zoe?
Yeah, you did.
Did. And when I even introduced it, I didn't want to specifically about Michael Vick. I didn't want to.
But you got to address the elephant in the room because we.
Hold on, coach. Let me bring it home.
I will. But I'm speaking of HBCU schools are not giving HBCU graduates and what we've been through and having skin in the game, opportunity to develop, and economically, coaches, it ain't right. We're missing our calling on making the $200,000 and $300,000 and $400,000, which their assistant coaches at these PWI schools make that money. And economically, it don't make us stronger as black folks. But that's what they made our schools.
Hold on, wait, coach.
So go ahead.
Prairie View. Wait a minute, coach. Hold on, wait a minute, guys. Because Prairie View is probably going to hire a traditional coach. Would you not agree? More likely than not.
I know who they're going to hire.
Okay, well, there you go. It's not a celebrity. Mississippi Valley is probably going to hire a traditional coach. More likely than not. It's not a celebrity.
Yeah, I don't know.
Alabama, well, no, we can
see. I'm HBCU. I don't give a damn. Ain't none of the jobs should go to anybody outside HBCU.
Okay, so Tremaine Jackson,
one job.
Okay,
because we only got 40 chances.
I got that, but coach, what I'm saying is the majority of coaches have been filled with guys that do have some relationship with HBCUs. Would you not agree?
Let me
Sean
say this.
Gibbs.
I wouldn't have started this show if I felt that way. I would be a hypocrite if I wouldn't sit here and stand up for HBCU, just like Zoe told them guys at Jackson State, T.C. Taylor need to be our coach. We don't need to go out and hire no splash. We got him right here. How many we have at the championship game? 36,000. How many y'all average this year, coach at Jackson State?
I can't remember.
39,000, maybe. They ain't ended it up yet.
They live one double A again. It don't matter.
Right?
Here's the point, because I did talk to coach. I want to say this. I always say two things can be true. So here's the thing. And for all intents and purposes, I agree with coach. I think we all do. I do agree with you, coach. You know what I'm saying? And we do want to see pretty much every job where, HBCU coaches matriculate, through it, and they reap the benefit of the big contract, and then they could possibly even parlay it on however they see fit, whether it's to the FBS level or to the NFL or whatever their goal is. And we all can be in agreement for that to happen. But two things can be true. The reason why I don't have any issue, and I actually think it's perfect for, and I have to say Michael Vick only for this particular job. That's why I prefaced my comments earlier by saying, would it be a big deal if he goes anywhere? Yeah, because he's Michael Vick. But I think for this job in particular, Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't foresee any coach, whether it's Tremaine Jackson, Keaton, whoever. I don't see any coach going to Norfolk State in them winning.
That's
You
what
know
I
why?
said. That's
Oh,
what I
you know
said
why?
earlier about Vick.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because the data shows so. I'm finna bring this back home to something. Because I told you this, coach. To me, whether it's Deion Sanders, Eddie George, or Michael Vick, what they really highlights, because we talked about what they do off the field and how it can upgrade something, right? What it really highlights is everything else that's not being done. Because watch this. If everything else was done when all the alums were giving back and going to the games and doing their due diligence, if all of that's being done, then I can probably assure you there will be no need to go after Michael Vick. There will be no need to go after Deion Sanders. Because look at what we're doing with TC Taylor right now. But even still, we still weren't averaging 40,000. We got a decrease from when Deion Sanders left. Jackson State should be averaging about 40 to 45,000 fans every game, but we're not. But if all things lined up like we're supposed to be doing it, if all the ADs and presidents were doing their work and the fans were doing their due diligence, then yeah, there will be no need to go that route. But that's water under the bridge because we're here now. And because we're here for a program like Norfolk State, it makes tangible sense why you go and get Michael Vick. Because not just saying, hey, I want to get a celebrity coach and bring him here because he's from around here. It's a multifaceted thing, and it's multi-layered. Hold on, watch this. Michael Vick is a homegrown legend from here. He's the second coming to Deion. Deion Sanders was Michael Jordan in cleats. Michael Vick is not to Deion Sanders level, but damn it, he close. Man, at the end of the day, you get that here. He's from here, born and raised. Guess what else? We already know who the O-line coach is. Another guy from Hampton. There's talk of some other guys possibly from that same area being on the staff. That's a fertile ground. We could take this thing to new heights that is never, ever seen before. And trust me, coach, you can't do that with Teddy Keaton. You can't do it with Sam Shade. You can't do it with no other HBCU coach. It cannot happen. Now, can somebody possibly win some games there? Pete Adrian did in his best season. He won 7 games.
Okay, coach.
So let's get Rudy.
Let me get my guess in. I got you. So let me get my guess in, coach. All right, we don't throw some punches up in here. You know,
boy, I love it. I love this conversation. But again, I'm gonna take it back to business. Number one, obviously, whoever made that decision, and I'm assuming it was the athletic director in concert with the president, who probably got the blessing from the board of trustees. They felt like whatever investment they're going to make in Michael Vick is going to have a return over time. The question that I would have is, what is the time frame they're giving Michael Vick to kind of, make good on his return on that investment back to the university? That's number one. Number two, I kind of understand what Coach Cole is saying in that I think there are times when we should be looking to hire HBCU alumni or HBCU folks or coaches. But here's a question I have for you, Coach Cole, and the rest of the coaches. How many HBCU presidents do we have sitting on these campuses kind of making these decisions, these executive decisions? In other words, when I look at the president's suite, am I looking at individuals that went to HBCUs or matriculated from that particular HBCU? I'm assuming in some cases, yes, but I'm not sure what that trend is in the world of Black college in terms of hiring presidents around the country right now. So that would be my number two thing. And then the last thing I would say is I'm going to give anyone an opportunity for 2 or 3 years in the business world. I'll give you 2 or 3 years. And then after that, I need to see some kind of return. I need to see whether it's wins or losses, revenue back to the program, or as Coach mentioned, are we getting some kind of value on the brand? Like, is there some brand awareness that you know, matriculates into some type of, you know, price or some type of return from a monetary perspective. There's something going on. So I would say those three things. I don't really have an opinion on the coaching, you know, assessment of Michael Vick. I wish the brother well. I hope he does well, but I would just like to see more HBCU folks be HBCU leaders.
Cool.
Well, Mr. Johnson, let me ask
I
you
got
a
one
question.
question. Hold on. I got one question. They said, can
Yeah.
you take the time off and really give us the damn
Coach, y'all don't want me to do this. Now, hey, I'm from T. Hey,
well,
I'm
I
a-
guess
I'm a Q. I'm a Q now.
Black college.
Well, here's the thing. I think you brought me on to give you the business assessment, so I'm
Yes.
gonna give you the business of it, but I can give you all phases of it. But go ahead, Coach. I'm sorry.
I just gotta ask you. I gotta ask you a question.
Yes.
So, in the interview process,
Yes.
is it Michael Vick's job to provide a pathway or evidence for that return on investment, or should it be somebody in the administration who wants to bring him on to provide that pathway to the return on investment?
It's absolutely not Michael Vick's responsibility to provide that vision to those hiring authorities. They're hiring authorities. The hiring authorities that usually has the purse to go with it, because it's a three-dimensional chess game. Number one, you're assessing the talent. Can the man get it done? Number two, you're looking at your checkbook. And number three, you're looking at the ancillary benefits for that hire, right? It's absolutely not Michael Vick's responsibility to do that assessment in the course of that interview. This is why I say, and let's get off of Michael Vick, because I personally, I'm rooting for the brother. Let's just talk about HBCUs in general and where we're headed as HBCU. Let's talk about the president's suite, because I've always been disappointed in how we're hiring our presidents lately. Okay, so let's talk about that. So if there was a subcommittee of the board that was doing the assessment of candidates and making referrals of these candidates to the larger board, it's absolutely their responsibility to ensure that they're getting the right individual for the right price point, for the right reasons in terms of brand value.
Okay, well, when you mention brand value, and we're going to talk about HBCUs, we can take it off Michael Vick, because
yes,
one thing I love is data. One thing I love is data. So when we talk about HBCUs in the big scope of things, when we talk about brand analysis or hiring any type of coach and what it does from any type of value, outside of Deion Sanders, there is no coach that you can hire that's going to do that and bring return on just a hire alone. Outside of Deion Sanders, in the history of HBCU, there is no coach to get hired that you will get that from.
Cool.
Yeah, I think Coach Sanders. I think Coach Sanders was an anomaly in that respect. I mean, I think he.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Coach.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Let me jump in here.
No. Yeah, go ahead, Coach.
So, where are you getting your data? Because all I can speak on is all the places I've been. I have turned them around.
No.
Hold on, let me finish. I've seen season tickets go out the roof. I see attendance go all out the roof. I see enrollment in them colleges go all out the roof. So I want to know where you're getting your data.
No. You're speaking of that was done in due time.
That's because we won. Let me say
No. You're this is why I said you're speaking of I did this, and thus because I did this, season tickets went up. That's over time. I specifically said from the nature of hiring a coach before a game is even played, where you see some return or any type of financial gain from any coach being hired. You don't have that. You don't have that on any HBCU. The only time this ever happened is with Deion Sanders at Jackson State. That's a fact.
And Deion Sanders didn't sustain that level of visibility though through his performance, as a coach, right? It didn't stop when they made the announcement. His level of coaching and how he got his team ready and winning back-to-back championships brought that attention to the SWAC, right, in Black college football, brought the attention that we hadn't had in quite some time. Now, Johnny, to your point, some traditional coaches, I mean, Eddie Robinson and all those obviously, those are legends as well. But if you ask me the question, which I thought the question was, is it the candidate's responsibility or institution's responsibility to make that assessment? It's the institution's responsibility to make that assessment.
The reason why I say that is because one of the things that was unique about Deion's installation as head coach, it seems like his brand vision was being carried out and his value was being shown to the school rather than the school using him to bring value to them. That's what it looked like on the outside. Zoe probably can speak to how it was actually carried out, but that's what it looked like. That the school and the Jackson State brand was following his vision. So
I think Zoe told us about Deion and what he brought last week, but you can tell us again, Zoe, how did that go?
I saw what you did there, Coach.
40 years.
I saw what you did there, Coach.
Been the number one attendance school in FCS for the last 35 years. But go ahead, Zoe.
Oh, very much so. I mean, the brand was there, but then he take the brand to a new height. Yes, he did. But the main thing, but the one thing Deion Sanders did, he did add value to the brand. The difference was because Deion Sanders is such a lightning rod, and I can actually go back to the time he was hired. There was, from all the masses outside of Mississippi, there was a demarcation. We wanted to demarcate and separate Deion Sanders from Jackson State. That's what happened when it was Deion Sanders got hired as a coach. It was Deion Sanders, and then it was Jackson State. There was never a marriage of the two until he decided to leave, and then we want to attach him to Jackson State.
But let me jump in and say this from a business perspective. There is a higher value on the HBCU brand in total than there is for individual school brands.
Thank you.
In other words, we need to learn how to work together as an HBCU family to go out and make the revenue that's been untapped in these markets where there are no Black colleges, period.
Hey, and let me say this, guys, and you guys don't know that. Rudy also goes around to HBCUs with Ben Crump, Stedman Graham. Yep. They go to town hall meetings on HBCU campuses. So he's not only speaking from an athletic standpoint or a business standpoint, he also has been from enrollment, students, giving jobs in the whole light of HBCU. So it ain't like he's just coming from outside. He's a warrior on the inside.
Oh, absolutely, Coach. This is my passion. This is what I do. But, I hope ADs and presidents that may be listening to you all's broadcast just heard what I said. We're a much stronger brand as 113, 114 institutions, right? Under that HBC, you always see those sweaters and jackets and stuff that has that little HBCU logo, whatever. We can capitalize on that brand far more than individual institutions. And so sometimes when we get carried away arguing over what coach got hired and what, Johnny knows I don't do the one-offs, man. Mm-hmm. What is good for the overall HBCU community? That's where I'm at.
So Rudy, you kind of are talking about something that I think is very much so untapped, in HBCU, because I think the HBCU brand is huge, right? However, it is an insular brand, meaning that it's largely marketed to one another. Y'all market to one another. And I've always said this, and I said this to Steve, if you could somehow allow HBCU culture to somehow truly be part of Black culture, then y'all could untap it to a point where it would benefit our culture, of course, by making those institutions of higher learning accessible to all of our kids in all situations and communities, but also those people who maybe didn't have an academic connection to us could then become fans, followers, supporters, much like people do for Alabama or Tennessee who have never stepped on campus or even visited the state of Tennessee or Alabama. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, very much so. Very much so, Coach.
Let me piggyback because I've traveled
Yeah.
the country as well as Rudy have. And what you're saying is so right, Rocky. And that's what we don't do, Zoe and Coach. It shouldn't be a state in this country that don't know anything about HBCUs. Now that I live out west in Arizona, and me and Rudy talk, Rudy's from California, and as we travel, we say, oh, we from Texas Southern graduates. And the first thing people say, well, where's that at? But if we say Ohio State, if we say Alabama, even when I tell those people, oh yeah, I coach at Alabama State. Oh man, roll tide, roll. No. At the black school. You see what I'm saying? And as I went out and recruited, and everywhere I go into these schools, and I see the SEC, I see the MEAC, I see everything. And so what you're saying, Rocky, I know when we first met, we talked about that. Coach Campbell, I'm gonna put it on you because you're the historian of our group. Why is that now? Why? And we said that earlier, Rudy, before you came over, maybe that we don't do things together. I think if the MEAC and SWAC got together, Zoe, and put together a TV package, that we could get to millions. I ain't talking about no 10, 20. I'm talking about 100, 200 million if we could put together. But go ahead. I want you to.
Well, I want to address something that Rocky said real quick because, and I've got to make this point because we're going to have this start again. We had the Primates. Now we're going to have the Vickettes. We're going to have this whole wave of people coming.
The victors.
No, I ain't giving them that because they ain't won nothing. They're going to be the Vickettes until they win something. The Vickettes and the Primates because they're going to be one to say. So the Vickettes are going to come in and they don't know nothing about Norfolk. They're going to be, I'm rooting for Norfolk. And you know what they're going to do? And see, this is where the problem comes. It's not gatekeeping. It's don't disrespect me when you don't know my history and you don't know my struggle. Because what happened to Jackson State, and I saw it. I'm from Jackson. I saw it, FAMU. Why Jackson State don't have lights in here? Why they don't have this? And if Mississippi has this and Ole Miss has that, and I have to tell people, if you gave Jackson State the money that they've been underfunded for 100 years, they would have it. If FAMU had their $1.9 billion, they would have. But when you come in, Rocky, and I'm using you not literally, come in and you talk about all the things you see is wrong, but don't ask me why it's wrong and say, man, your house is dirty. Your this is that. So that's where the pushback comes. That's where the gatekeeping comes in because you're not going to talk about Jackson State if you don't know Jackson State's struggle. You're not going to talk about Texas. Like Coach said, Coach had to talk about what he had to do to clean up and line the fields and things like that. Coach didn't do that because he wanted to. They didn't have no money for him to do it. It wasn't that Alabama State or Tennessee State or Texas Southern didn't want to give him the funds. The state of Texas didn't give him the funds. So if you see a light, like when Ed Reed went down there, my daughter works at Bethune-Cookman. I know the struggle that they had this stuff. And you know what? They hadn't paid them. My daughter hadn't got paid for 2 weeks because they were waiting for money to get paid for. So now, to that point, for us coaches talking about working together and about branding, which Mr. Johnson's talking about, branding is very important, but it also has to do with the correct messages that go out and do the branding. That is very important. So if I'm going out there, why do you think, and people get mad at me, I'm not going to talk bad about Jack State, FAMU, Grambling, none of that, because I know people know me. And people are going to call me and say, what you mean you said this about Grambling or FAMU or this? Because we have to be good stewards and representatives of our universities. So, Rocky, when you come in, I want you to come again. Because, see, I'm going to tell you what you ain't going to do, Rocky. When you go watch Alabama play, you ain't going to be worried because Alabama stuff is all nice. When you go watch Texas, everything is nice and pretty. But when you see Jack State, why that light out? Why they ain't got those stands fixed? See, you don't never question Texas and Alabama like that.
So let me just say this, Steve. And I think part of the reason that people may evaluate you guys that way is because, and for instance, if a person has a critique of Jackson State, right? This is what I would say. And I've never been on campus or anything, but I know from my experience at FAMU, Alabama State, or whatever, to be in the presence of all those black people and see them celebrate, share, party, whatever you want to call it, in those moments. There's nothing like that experience at 54 years old I've ever experienced. And that's the goal. Like before you can critique the school, go have an experience first. That's what I would tell anybody.
Well, see,
go have an experience.
How many people didn't do it? But look, and Zoe knows because he was done it. How many people just came as primates, never saw, didn't even know, some people call it Jacksonville State, didn't even know where it was located, okay? And all they saw was, and again, I hate to say it, but the messenger, what did we hear Deion say? They stole my radio, they stole my wallet, they're getting killed on campus. This is what he said. They stole my money. You know how many times I go in the barbershop? Man, did Jackson State ever pay Deion his money? No, I know the general counsel at Jackson State. And I'm going to just tell you something. Jackson State didn't owe nobody no money because I know that guy, okay? So my point of it is when you're doing those things, of course, I'm going to defend and they say I'm going to guard the yard, 100%.
Sound good when you say it, Steve.
Huh?
Sound good when you say it.
Hey, man, because I know how to say it, baby. I'm from Jackson. I know how to say it. So the thing to Mr. Johnson, as he goes and he represents, like, you know what I know, and Mr. Johnson, I would like to talk. You went to Texas Southern. How much pride when people, because you're in this position and you're around leaders and they think that you went to University of Texas or you went to Texas and you say you went to Texas Southern and they have to step back. How do you have to defend that sometimes, I'm assuming, that you have to explain to them who and what you are because of where you come from. I think that has a lot to do with some of the issues. So yeah, Rocky, when you came down there, but I tell you what did you do? You came down there, you looked at our field house, you got on the show and made a very simple comment. Man, why the field house ain't blah, blah, blah. I got a phone call from the coaches. Who is this guy talking about our field house? 5 minutes later, coach.
Hold on, Rocky. Well, Steve, to your point, when Deion Sanders left, what became Jackson State's battle cry? Guard the yard. Guard the yard. That's where it originates from. That's where it came from. Protect, gatekeep, and guard the yard. That's where it actually stems from.
That's all what I've been talking about.
So
guard the yard. HBCU. Damn, don't y'all see what I'm saying?
Mr. Johnson.
Go ahead, Rudy. You got the floor. But that's all I'm doing.
Tell them how self-defeating.
I gotta say, guard the yard.
Tell them how self-defeating guard the yard is from a business standpoint.
To me, that's self-defeating.
Oh shit. Where do I start with that? Hey, I've been working my whole life to guard the yard. You know, everything that I'm about is about guarding the yard. You know, I am a product of guarding the yard. You know, in my journey, in my professional journey, I made sure in my bio, every time they introduced me, they had to say the words Texas Southern University, right? I could have skipped all that and said, you know, I have a master's in public administration from San Diego State University and kept it moving, and no one would have been the wiser. But it's always in my bio. It's always kind of that byline to everything that I do, because I want them to purposely have to stop and acknowledge that this individual that's sitting before them matriculated from an HBCU. So it's incredibly personal to me. And this is why I have so much passion in what I say and how I go about it, is because I started my journey on the campus of Texas Southern University at age 17. So it's very personal to me. And we all have a voice because we all have a connection. But let me say one thing before I forget what I was going to say about this HBCU branding thing. There's gold in them dar hills, and we need to sit down and understand. Damn, who gets the credit, or can we get along, or do we like each other? We talking about billions of dollars potentially in revenue, in sales, in marketing, in appearance fees that can be had if we just sit down and work this business strategy out under the auspices of HBCUs, not just individual, institutions. I'm talking about brands, the brand that will sell in every market. Coach, to your point, whether you know about it or not, African Americans embrace HBCU. As soon as I say I'm matriculated out of an HBCU, when I'm out speaking to audiences, I automatically get this refreshing embrace that says, I understand your struggle, black man, period.
Yes,
Whether they went there or not, you know. So I know I got on a bit of a tangent there, but y'all maybe come out this tie, god dang. So I had to come out the tie. But don't get it twisted. I'm still made via Texas Southern University. Okay.
Well,
Well,
Mr.
Mr.
Johnson,
Johnson,
can you grow the yard while gardening the yard?
Say what? I'm sorry. Can I grow it?
While gardening.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
It's all about, you know, I call that, you know, when you scale, that's growing the yard. But here's the thing. We have to like cut it down, get it right, then scale it. We trying to scale on the back of some raggedy stuff, man. And if I can just be real, y'all want me to be real? I'm a HBCU graduate. The stuff is raggedy right now. We have to come back in. We have to build the infrastructure correctly and then look to scale outwardly from there. Now, one or two institutions may have it down. I love what Jackson State has done. You know, there's some other institutions that have done well, but those are onesie twosies out of 115 plus institutions. Period.
It kills me, man. It kills me to think that we got to go outside to get people to process our HBCUs, to sell ourselves. We got champions on the inside. And that's our problem. We do not have champions on the inside.
Let me tell you what.
Let somebody else tell us that we're
Let me say one real thing that just happened. Johnny told you I'm on this speaking circuit. We flew to Baltimore.
Coach.
Well, Coach, all that ain't even. I don't even need the name drop. I think y'all can look it up and all that good stuff. But here's the thing.
Name drop for your boy. How big?
I was with Ben Crump and Stedman Graham, and we went to Morgan State University. And every time I'm out, I try to go to the bookstore and buy a product or shop in the bookstore. So I go to the bookstore, and Morgan State has a fabulous campus. Let me say this, you know, their campus is fabulous. And I go into the bookstore, and you know me being a businessman, the first thing I said was, you know, who owns product in here? Like, who is this property of the university? Or is there a third party managing this bookstore? It's a third party managing sales that are represented by the HBCU brand, y'all. We ain't even benefiting. You understand what? Now they give a cut to Morgan State, and I'm not bad mouthing Morgan State, but HBCUs made that brand. Okay, not that third party institution that's going to get the revenue from it. So, you know, you start talking about business one-on-one. What kind of gosh darn sense does that make, Coach? You know,
I know you got something, Zoe. I know you got something. You're going to see the same shit.
Say what?
He don't see the same stuff where he media guy. He know we don't do it right.
Yeah. Well, you know, come on, man.
You telling me that we can't formulate a TV package? The Magic City Classic, 68,000. The State Farm Classic, 58,000. The Labor Day Classic, the Orange Blossom City Classic, and we can't put together a TV package, though. Businessman Campbell, Businessman Rocky, and sell that to NBC, CBS, ESPN for $100 million. We're going to show, you're going to have the fan base sit back there, and we can't come together and do that.
Oh, we can. I mean, we just refuse to do it. Of course we can. I mean, now
that's what the SEC did. That's what Notre Dame done.
I'll give you another option. Instead of just putting our games together and selling it to a brand, why can't you take your own content and build your own studio and have your own product to sell? You can do that too. The options are limited. But again, you have to get uncomfortable and you have to be willing to take the risk. There is no such thing as comfortable growth, and we're growing. But the thing is, I'm just gonna pull the curtain back. At the end of the day, there's no point of us talking in circles. Look, we already know as a people we tend to move conservative. The SWAC as a whole, from every business decision that's been made, we move. We're more reactionary than being progressive. We're never on the offensive in our decision making. We never has. You haven't seen anything offensive within the conference, even the MEAC as well. You have not seen any offensive move, even in this new college football landscape. We've stood pat. We haven't made any moves. I mean, we're still at the juncture right now. YouTube that we're on has been in existence now at least about 10 years, and we still haven't changed or matriculated from just streaming games on YouTube. That's fact.
You know, this is one thing I say though, is that it seems to me, and this is a guy that's not an HBCU guy, right? Is that the only obstacle from between you guys having huge success in whatever your endeavor is the willingness to invest in your own products. Like that, because once you guys invest in your own products, y'all have success. Like there's not a circumstance or situation where I see in the last 5 years where y'all taking a risk, right? Whether it's hiring Dion or putting in new facilities, all those things have paid off, in my opinion, with all the schools who've taken that chance. Why are they so risk averse though? Why are they with the products that only add value to the school, the brand, and go ahead?
That's an easy answer, because by and large, as a people, we do everything risk averse. Yeah. That's an easy answer.
Hey, Rocky, put this comment that and I hate to do it to him. Ronald Hunt said, "I've been to Alabama, Southern California, USA, and Minnesota." Put that up. Put that comment up.
By Ronald Hunt?
Yeah, put that up. And Ron, this is no shot at you, okay? So I want, because you're my guy and everything. But y'all got to stop this, okay? These are flagship state schools of city. When the people from Alabama, that is the whole state, okay? I'm going to tell you something, and Zoe will tell you. At Jack, do y'all really think it's 30,000 graduates in a Jack State football game? Hell, Jack State only got 60,000 graduates total. So when it's 30,000 people in the game, I'm just going to tell y'all, only about 10% of them people actually went to Jackson State. When you go down to the Southern, and Perry said they had 100,000 people around there for the homecoming, I'm going to tell you something. Only about 20,000 people even went on the campus.
Hold on.
Wait. So hold on. Let me finish this. Because, see, this is what I have a problem with. Stop doing this. Because, yes, if you walk up to Alabama, all them white folks are going to root for Alabama. That is the flagship state school. If you root for it is the flagship state school.
Hey, guys, Mr. Johnson has to go, and I think give him opportunity to say bye to everybody.
Okay.
And I want to let him know that I appreciate him coming on, because he's been a tremendous guest. And anything you'd like to say before you depart this evening, sir?
First of all, coaches, this was fun. I learned a lot. Thank you for letting me kind of ride shotgun with you all, and I'd love to come back. Thank you.
Hey,
and my brother, J. Cole. All right, baby. All right, I'm ready to come back. Appreciate y'all. Late.
But one thing I want to add, hold on, Steve. I want to say what you just said. Steve, you're absolutely right. But there's a term specifically for Alabama for that same crap. They're called sidewalk fans. Man, more than half of them people in Alabama, they're not Alabama graduates. They're called sidewalk fans. And I want to say this too. For all things holy, stop that crap. If we give an example about any HBCU, we love to go to the 1%. We go straight to Alabama, Notre Dame, and Penn State. We go to the 1%. You know
that's flattering. That should be flattering, correct?
But hold on. Here's the thing: they don't ever go from HBCU to say, "Well, damn it, y'all surely being like San Jose State." They go straight to goddamn Alabama, Notre Dame. I cut that crap. It's not apples and apples.
But see, I guess my point of it is it's a false narrative, because I just showed you. I can take you to at the match. It's 68,000 people at the game, right, Coach? Almost 70,000. Do you really think all those people are alums of that school?
No.
Well, here's the other thing. Here's the other stat, and it's a true stat. You can look it up. HBCU schools average more fans than at least about what you would say 45, 50,000 of FBS schools. We average more fans than FBS schools. We always finish in the top 10, 3 or 4 of our schools as number 1, 2, and 3 in attendance in FCS schools.
So let me say this, and I'll let you guys go. I've lived in a D1 city all my life. All my life, I've lived in a city that had a D1 school. And to be honest with you guys, when you told me Jackson State's attendance numbers, I thought you guys were lying. Because if you could go, you can go, because all this is verifiable. If you look at Baylor's average attendance over the course of the last 40 years, Jackson State's attendance probably is going to beat them out a lot of those years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Other than the Art Browse years, you know.
Especially them Grand Tapia with nobody going.
Go ahead.
So people always, if you don't win, you're going to have trouble. Or if you don't have tradition of winning, you're going to have trouble with attendance in football.
So two things, because I always like to say this because, I understand when it's coming from me. I'm JSU, so I'm being biased when I say it. But I like to say, look, I'm taking my blue and white glasses off. Data is data. I love data. So to put things in context, I made a statement last year. I said, listen, if Jackson State was in the Sun Belt Conference, we have the biggest brand in that conference. We have we are the biggest draw. We average the most fans in that as it speaks right now. We average more fans than any school in that conference. And TV market size, we're in the top 3 TV market. And I was like, and when we talk about fan base, then when we look at media hits, we have more people following us on IG and Facebook and Twitter than I think all but 2 schools in the Sun Belt. I'm like,
y'all been doing that, Coach. It just didn't happen.
And watch this. And I said, but when I say that, oh no, it ain't. I'll put something in context for you. We just won the HBCU National Championship this year. We averaged just under 30,000 fans per game. In 2019, our last losing season, we were 4-8. We led the nation in attendance with 38,000. So we averaged more fans being 4-8 than we did this year, and we won a national championship.
Now, Zoe, let's be honest with you, because this is joke and partly true. Did all 38,000 of those fans pay to get in the game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now they do Zoe when the white folks run, they didn't, where they stole it.
Now, let me get y'all 3 straight.
Hey, Rock, is the call line open too? Because we got a bunch of
I got the call line on. Ain't nobody
call in and curse and go off on Coach Cole about Michael Vick real quick before we get off of here.
Let me say something to y'all 3. Mike Vick, Tom Brady, everybody. Winning, it ain't it's the only thing. Winning will solve a lot of issues and a lot of problems. Grambling became Grambling because Eddie Robinson won.
Jackson State
everybody wins at the same, though, Coach.
Because we agree with that, though.
Okay.
Everybody wins at the same.
Michael Vick, Broadway continued with Grambling because he won. LC Cole continued because he won. When those guys come from the outside, if they don't win, it's a failure, man. It's a big failure. And people don't come see that. I don't think, and I'm going to bet on it today, that those numbers don't come to fruition of hiring Michael Vick.
Hey, we got a caller, but our caller need to turn his background down.
Go ahead. Y'all talking about all that, you got to win.
Is this Willie? Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you. Can't hear Willie.
You can't hear Willie? Hold on. Let me see. Can I get Willie in here? They can't hear you, Willie. I got a new setup. So, yeah, I can hear you, but they probably hold on. Let me see if I can get you in there, Willie. Yeah, I can hear you, but they can't hear you. That's the problem.
Well, he's got to fix that. Well, Coach, let me ask you this question.
Go ahead. Y'all go ahead.
Yeah,
Coach,
go ahead. Let me circle back to this because I think this is very important. And I think this is a struggle that we're going to have to deal with. Let's go back to your initial point. You have coaches that have the DNA of HBCUs. They played like yourself and actually coached. There are positions that are being open that are very limited. So what do you tell that AD, who again, that might not, again, Alabama A&M, that's not a football traditional program, that they have tried to hire coaches. So what is your, are they not hiring the right coaches?
Welcome to the conferencing
center. What are they doing wrong?
Here's what I really believe. I believe if you hire a alumnus of your university that's qualified, that he will generate some money and some money, and alumni will do good and better. That's what made Eddie Robinson so great. Not that he just won, but that the graduates of there knew that and they felt good about the school and everything else. And I think Zoe hit a big point. And I hit and Mr. Johnson hit a big point. It starts at the top. It stops at the top and it trickles down. I think you hit a big point, Mr. Campbell, about these monies that they owe black colleges. I just don't think, man, I don't think going out and getting these celebrity coaches that don't have no coaching experience is the answer. I just don't think that. I haven't seen it. I've been around longer than y'all on this show. Except
and you actually coached. I want to be clear on that. You
coached. And Lionel Taylor, I sent y'all he's a Hall of Famer, right? Called 100 pounds. He was an NFL coach back in the day before media. All right. He coached at the Steelers. He coached at the Rams, who actually met together. I'm here today because of him. Don't get me wrong. He called me, but he was a pro coach. He got drugged. You know what I'm saying? We went on to Highsmith, got drugged. We went on to other these coaches I've seen came through the conference and have gotten drugged, coach. They're outside of the HBCU realm. But when you see the coaches that come through, your Fobs, your Doug Williams, your TC Taylors, coach, your Johnnie Coles, your Ed McNairs, they all win, man. And it changes the dynamic of, just like you, Zoe. When they had Dion, you was a Jackson. I'm Jacksonian. But boy, when they hired TC Taylor, man, that just gave you a different feeling. What? It just gave you a different feeling. And I know last Saturday, shit, you shit, because you probably didn't even go to sleep.
I didn't. But again, I told you. But look, I'm a JSU historian, so yes. Again, when TC Taylor was hired, I said it. Jackson State under TC Taylor will have a field. It will have a W.C. Gordon feel to it. I said it the day he was hired.
Question: You've been under one of the greatest athletes to ever, Deion Sanders. Tell me, how did you feel during that period?
I felt great. I felt great. We hired him. I felt I'm a coach. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
The day I knew what Deion Sanders was gonna be hired, before we made the announcement, I felt like the same as any Norfolk. What I envisioned what any Norfolk stand would feel like today.
Okay.
But the different dichotomy of it's a different feel to it, because I felt like Deion could get us back to what we were.
Correct.
Norfolk State he's going to take us to some place we've never been, and I want to say this because I want to pull some up just for you to know, Coach. I pulled this up. Norfolk State in their whole entire history, man. Let me pull this up, man. In their whole entire football history, they've won 361 games. They've lost 391 games and 12 ties. Point blank period. They have a 47 winning percentage in their whole entire history, and they've never won the MEAC. Not one time.
That's 4 games a year.
That's their whole entire football history.
So if Michael Vick come in and win 4 games, what does that do? What does that say? What makes you feel that this guy is the guy?
Well, let me ask you a better question than that. He only got to play 5 other teams in the MEAC. Okay.
Less resistance too.
Okay. Is he gonna be able to beat Delaware State just by recruiting?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one.
Everybody beat them.
Okay. He got to play Morgan State. Do you think the talent where he's at and he's recruiting? Do you think he can recruit them?
Cover's not there.
Okay.
I don't I don't think he's a better coach than Wilson.
No. I ain't say
You don't
better
have to
coach.
be.
No. I'm
And
just
well, I'm saying that to say Wilson would have his team to
Okay.
beat them.
He don't have to be the better coach.
And they'll be
Okay.
right back where they were.
Howard.
I know Coach Borky's over at Howard. He came behind me at Lane College.
So that means you also know that he can lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right there, he's already 50%.
I'm gonna drop y'all. Y'all come in.
Y'all know that ain't fair now.
No, it is. I've been trying to tell you because I've been saying this all night. There's a difference between fit, which your argument is legitimate, versus situation, which and that's what we want to say. That's why I wanted us to separate the two. Because we separate the two, there is a more robust discussion. And that's the reason why I'm saying that. For what Michael Vick has to do at Norfolk State, he is already, in my mind, it's just like, so wait a minute, Zoe, and you were right there. What did Deion say? Just wait till I get my guys.
Mm-hmm.
Just wait till y'all, when I get my guy, and the only team that even had a snowball chance as hell was FAMU that first year, and he whooped our ass the second year. Okay? Because he was able to out-recruit, not out-coach. Not out-coached, because unfortunately, when they went to the Celebration Bowl, they got out-coached.
Let me know when y'all ready for the callers.
Yeah, we ready.
They ready?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
ready.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, caller. You're live on HBCU Coaches Corner.
Yo, how y'all doing? First of all, I'm just trying to figure out. Okay, Cole, within 4 years, right? You had 2 figure-headed coaches, right? And you asked, what would Vick's record be his first year? My question to you is, what was Coach Eddie George's record in his 3 years, and what is it in his 4th year? With 0 experience prior to 4 years ago, what was his record 3 years ago, or in his 3 years compared to his 4th year? I tell you, it's a conference championship in a harder division or in a harder conference in the Ohio Valley Conference. That he's a champion with 0 experience. Deion in 2 years, right? Not counting his spring year, because of course he didn't have all of his recruits, right? First time he goes 10-2. Second time he goes undefeated, with his only loss being in the Celebration Bowl because 3 of his defensive linemen were in the transfer portal. That's Katron Evans, that's Griffiths, and that's Humphreys. With Niles Gaddy also not playing in the game because of a whole bunch of, I don't want to go into that because I don't want to get angry. But anyways, that's not a loss if all 4 of those play the game. Why? Because they're constantly adding pressure on NC Central's offensive line for 4 straight quarters. They can't handle that amount of pressure that's coming with them. The only reason why NC Central won that game was because they were bigger on the offensive line. They dominated a smaller defensive line that didn't have all of their trenches because 3 of them were in the portal and 1 was on the sideline. 1 didn't even play in the game. His head, both his feet weren't in the game. 1 was in Boulder, Colorado. The other one was in was in the game. With Tim Brewster not even being at the game, he was recruiting
in Colorado.
He was recruiting for Colorado. So one of his coaches, quote unquote, to speak, wasn't even at the damn game. He was somewhere on the plane headed recruiting for Colorado, right?
All right,
that's an undefeated record if everybody's playing, but I don't want to go into details. I'm just trying to figure out what is his point, because he's not making sense here. It's almost as if it's a personal vendetta because it's a celebrity status coach versus HBCU culture. He's trying to make it a war here, and it's really not. What this is about, this is a move to level the playing field. It's a step closer. And why there's nobody talking about a super FBS conference when your value is now in HBCU spaces is beyond me. I know that's a leadership conversation. That's a president conversation. But alums, and I said this before years ago, alums with the students and the student athletes are going to have to become more actionary, even if it calls for them to unify, right? To protest against leadership in order to get some shape, because this is a conversation that should be had as soon as Michael Vick was rumored to be a coach. Now that he's officially the coach and there's value added towards HBCUs, the MEAC and the SWAC should align to form this super FBS conference to be able to make a move in 2 years. Because the money and the resources and the backing will be there. There will be no more excuses after this.
Hey, well, I'll let Coach Cole respond.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Coach Cole.
Well, first of all, I didn't want to start this off as a Michael Vick teardown. He's a brother like I am.
He did. He did not.
Yeah, I talked before that. But I wanted to make this an HBCU a thing about why and how and because that we should have opportunities to coach our own university and our own school. So let's talk about Tennessee State, because I was there and I won championships there. And when you look at Tennessee State, it ain't the same Tennessee State. Tennessee State has softened their schedule to play Lane College, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Mississippi Valley, where they're used to. Now, he won the championship, but he tore down what was he there for. Nobody comes to the games. Nobody really cares what Tennessee State does. So at the end of the day, any coach that could have came in and done that and won the conference, but at the end of the day, if it was a Tennessee State graduate or HBCU graduate, maybe they wouldn't have lost the fan base that they lost, because the HBCU guy knows the fabric and knows why does Tennessee play these kind of football teams. Your Florida A&Ms, your Jackson States, your Southern universities. So don't give me that. Then they go and get in this conference where now the conference is tore down, and now they're adding schools like Linwood, Charleston Southern. So don't give me about Eddie George and what he's done and what he's came to. And the last thing I've heard, that the school is broke. So tell me, what is the great thing about Eddie George coming to Tennessee State and winning a championship? That it was a Coco championship, because it was with two other football teams.
Damn.
So they won a co-championship to get it straight. So yeah, I do have an issue and a problem with that. So tell me, how and what have he done at the end of the day to raise money and to raise funds? And like Mr. Johnson said, what was the value?
The state of Tennessee still owe him.
Was the risk bigger than the value? I don't think.
Can you? Hey, we got Uncle Willie on here, and
go ahead.
Let's get Uncle Willie in here. Go ahead, Uncle Willie.
Because Tennessee.
How you doing, brother Cole? Brother Cam, you still eating that chicken? I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you.
Popeyes, not Kentucky Fried. Popeyes, brother.
Hey, it's too many things to touch on, so I'm just gonna touch on a couple of things. That last caller, yeah, he did lose to Celebration Bowl. That do count as a loss, because that was his doing for not bringing those players out there. That was his doing. That was his doing for not letting TC coach that last game when he lost the last one, because he wasn't gonna let his son play if he wasn't gonna coach. And another thing, Zoe, this is what I want you to do. You and Mr. Campbell, I want y'all to take Rocky under your wings. I love Rocky, but there's a lot of things that Rocky don't know about Rocky. Seriously, Rocky. You remember when you were watching the game with Scotty, and you say when we were playing Alcorn, and you said, look at that, they got a whole dance group that's putting on the routine. You know that's disrespectful. I know you don't know, because you're not in the HBCU space, but everybody know who the Q Dogs are.
I was being
half the damn football teams all over the country is Q Dogs.
I grew up down the street from an HBCU campus. I know what a Q Dog looks like. I was being facetious.
Okay.
But now, I wasn't being facetious about the fact they should have had their ass set down cheering for Jackson State in the middle of a championship game. But I was being facetious about talking about what dancing group is that. I was being facetious about that.
But watch this, Rocky. What you should do is, seriously, come to the vet next year. Come to the vet. Now, I wouldn't tell you to go to other schools, because I don't really like those Louisiana schools. But the Hole is a pretty good place to go to. But come to the vet next year. I know you ain't never been in the vet, but when you come in the vet, you're gonna be surprised. A lot of things that we've been telling you don't believe. Another thing I want Zoe and Mr. Campbell to do when they start talking about that other coach, and we got facilities built. Please let them know the only thing that joker done was hire a barber and put in TVs and game stations, and he didn't have nothing to do with that shit that you see on Jackson State campus. Rocky, you need to stop saying that because that's pushing a bad narrative. He didn't do that.
I was on Jackson State's campus in 1989. Right?
We done built a whole bunch of shit since then.
Last time I was on Jackson State campus, and I wasn't on there for no education, if you know what I mean.
We done built the Walter Payton Center. We done built a new baseball and stuff field. We done did a whole bunch of shit since 1989.
Uncle Willie, I can't let you keep jumping on my man. He was one of the guys that came to me and said, Cole, we need to get together. And I told him what I would like to do, and he was all for it. So don't kill him.
I'm not jumping on Brother Cole. I just want you and Mr. Campbell. Mr. Campbell, I heard about your spaceship. I want you and Mr. Campbell. just to take him under y'all wings next year and let him visit.
Really, we got him. Really, he don't been to more games. We don't sell him most.
He ain't been to the vet. He got to bring it behind to the vet.
That's why we got Zoe. He gonna get us straight.
You know what? I thought I was going to see the champ when I went to see Alabama State this spring, and it didn't turn out to be that way. And so this next year I may have to go with Jackson State as my preseason pick. So me and Coach Cole and Mr. Campbell may end up in Jackson for the spring game.
So you come down here, let me know, Rocky. I got you. I'm gonna take you, get you some good barbecue and all that good stuff. I want you to get. I got plenty of barbecue. You want women? Catfish. Oh, catfish. Okay, then you let me know. I go fishing all the time. I don't even eat catfish. I like brims and white perch. Hey, and I'm going to give my catfish away, but now I know what to do.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Willie. We got some other people we're gonna get.
All right, man. I appreciate y'all taking my.
All right, we got my man here. My man got his camera on, man. So we're gonna let him come on.
Look at that boy. Look at that boy. Boy, let me tell you something. Hey, hold on.
Hey, they what winning feel like. But I
hold on. I gotta say this. I'm gonna set you up. I went to church, and I'm telling you something. Them Jackson State folks had their jackets on, they had their hats on at church, because they had been praying. So Carter got that fresh championship shirt.
Fresh T-shirt. This is the first time I done wore it. I bought so much gear. I went crazy with it. But I have a real question for Coach Cole. So the first thing first, I actually agree with Coach Cole on the about the coaching hires. But my issue is this: when are we gonna hold the HBCU coaches like a Coach Cole? Your brother, Coach Cole, Teddy Keaton, Sam Shade, all these guys that you've named, when are we gonna hold them accountable, or all you guys accountable for saying y'all are responsible for training the next generation of head coaches? Because if coaches like yourself and all these coaches that have won championships in the SWAC and somewhere else, if they're not saying, hey, look, my offensive coordinator give you 40 a game. Why isn't he up for the Norfolk job? The Alabama State defensive coordinator, why ain't he up for the PV job or for the Norfolk job? So if our coaches are not being held accountable for saying, I am your training ground, I am the coach of my coaches, then how can we be upset when Norfolk goes out and say, I'm gonna bring in Mike Vick instead of, say, the D coordinator at Alabama State, or and I hate to even say this, Zoe, do not jump on me, or Coach Quinn, right? What? So how do we rectify that problem, though? Yeah. And my second question to you is, you coach for X number of years. Is your offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator from that Texas Southern team, have they been a head coach or are they still coaching right now? So I would put the onus on you to say, hey, I'm a Texas Southern man. I don't want a chip. My offense was giving you 30 a game. I had a leading defense. What where your tree at?
I'm gonna tell you my tree. My tree is outstanding. First of all. All right, this is outstanding. First of all, the O-line coach at the University of Alabama worked for me, Chris Kavilovic. All right, making over $1 million.
Okay.
My second guy, Grady Brown, defensive back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, making $500,000. My next guy was my right-hand man, Dora Williams, got a head job at Livingstone College. All right. My next guy is Richard Freeman, who was the head coach at Morehouse State University. My next guy was Darren Sneed, who came in and actually worked for me, finished #1 in the country. The head coach at Edward Waters, Torian Morgan, who I think is an exceptional guy. He's a head coach down there. He worked for me as well. Jimmy Smith now at the University of Memphis, another one of my players. I mean, I have a tree, and if I'm asked those questions, and if I'm put on those committees, I could recommend those guys, and not just me, my brother, Rod Broadway, some of these other guys who came through the ladder in the time with me. See, when Eddie Robinson and them coached, torches was passed on. Eddie passed the torch to Doug. W.C. Gordon passed the torch. The other guys passed. That's how Alcorn, Grambling, Jackson State have remained relevant because they have passed the torch on to their guys. Now we've gotten away from that, and now we've been to the outside. See, I was at a school at Texas Southern who stayed outside. And
you left somebody out, Coach. Did you leave them out on purpose?
I probably did.
Because they're playing for a Division II state, Division II national championship.
Yeah,
next week.
Tremaine Jackson. My tree. Tremaine, unless he come up under me, and he's playing for a national championship game. Thank you for reminding me, Coach. And it's several more that I don't even talk about. You know what I mean? People have taken my offense and put it into their content and the hobo offense, but because I'm a black guy, they don't want to call it the hobo offense. But if I was a white guy, they would be saying that. They come with the spread and all this other junk that they
do. The same thing to Archie Cooley.
Well, but here's the thing, though. Coach brought up a good point, right? Because this is true, right? Grambling, Eddie Robinson has his tree. And what they would do is his coaches would have success. The coordinator would leave and go somewhere else. His tree would branch out. Same thing at Jack State. Coach Gordon. You had Carter Jones, Houston Markham, you had Judge. But here's the thing. I want to pay attention to what you did, Coach, because you think you slick on this statement now. You said Southern. You said Grambling. You said Jackson State. You know what you didn't say? You didn't say Texas Southern.
Texas Southern. I said I caught that same thing.
You didn't say Norfolk State. You didn't say Pine Bluff. But you know why?
Kevin Ramsey, defense coordinator, #1 in the nation.
No, here's the point I'm getting at. The point that I'm getting at, even though you're saying names, is success. I just told you, Norfolk State has lost more games than they've won in their history. They don't have that of what you speak of. So what I'm saying is, though you're saying what you're saying is true. Listen to me good. You're right. It is true. But it's not true everywhere. Everybody ain't winning. Some places are losing and ain't never won before. Valley can't speak of it. I tell you what, Valley had Jerry Rice and Willie Totten. Willie Totten came back and coached at Valley, right? How many winning seasons did Willie Totten have? And his name was on the stadium. How many winning seasons did he have?
He had 1.
Okay. He's 7-4.
Now, watch this. And when he came, he brought one of the best quarterbacks in the state with him, Aries Nelson.
Aries Nelson. I went to high school with him.
And
how did he get him though?
He got him from Mississippi State.
Carter, you from Cleveland?
I'm from Cleveland. I can tell you about that. I can tell you how he got him.
Carter. I got to talk to you later on, Carter. But so here's the thing, Coach. The point that I'm getting at is that what you're saying is true, but it ain't true everywhere. So when we talk about the possibility of like a Norfolk State to want to think outside of the norm, they're willing and right to do it because they got to look out, because they got to do alternative things because the way that they've gone about it, it ain't working. You know, if it look like a duck, quack like a duck, it ain't a damn mongoose, coach. Seriously, they gotta try something different.
Here's what I'm saying to you, coach. Here's what I'm saying to you. Because you shooting stuff up in the air that ain't shit. We assuming that Michael Vick can do this. Because he has nothing in his. I listen to you. He has nothing in his repertoire, even as a coach, to say that he can do it. Here's a man, and guys, again, I don't want to make this about Michael Vick.
We're not.
But he's an ex-felon. He screwed up real bad, right?
Okay.
That's out there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that they should hold that against him. I'll be the last one to say they can hold something against him. So what we're doing, coach, we're guessing that he can do this. It's nothing written that says that Michael Vick is going to bring Under Armour like Deion Sanders. It's nothing that they going to say he can bring
that Nike already.
Huh?
They got Nike already. You don't have to. See, here's the thing.
Exactly, coach.
Coach, you got to separate. See, what you're doing is one time.
Here's the difference. Here's the difference, guys. Here's the difference. I'm saying that I done it at Lane College. I took over at Lane College. Terrible program, right? Season tickets went up, enrollment went up just because we won football games. Just because we won. All right. Mm-hmm. Y'all saying because Michael Vick played pro football and he's from there, the season tickets gonna go up. Money is gonna come in there, and they're gonna get their attention.
So, Coach Cole, let me articulate this to you.
And I'm saying, it's good, but something's got to go with that.
Let me say something, Coach Cole. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying Mike Vick, the cultural icon that is Mike Vick, him attaching his brand to Norfolk State is a net positive. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a care if he go 0-10. Him attaching his brand.
I'm not arguing that point.
His brand to Norfolk, whatever. Now, again, my point is saying this is in large part because the professional men, the practitioners of coaching that they've hired in those jobs has failed to produce results, coach. They have failed to produce results. And because they failed, right, the administration is saying, why would I hire a guy? Why not hire a guy that even if he does lose, we win as an institution?
Can I add something to that?
Go ahead, Marco. You sure can.
All right. So I understand what Coach Cole is saying, but Coach Cole, I'm gonna ask you this question. When a coach is looking or making themselves available for a position that's open, they have representation to reach out to explore that interest, correct?
It's gotten that way lately. It sure have. Guys are getting yes.
All right, so this is the problem as a whole with HBCU. As a whole, when you have a celebrity coach, it's easy to market because their name demands a response from the consumption, the marketplace. But there's something called self-made and hand-picked. So when you have a coach like you, Coach Cole, when you were coaching and you were winning, the marketplace responded to your success, and they were mentioning, and plus at that time we had black-owned magazines and all kind of publications that could serve a purpose and a service. Now, in today's world, all we have is YouTube and a couple other outlets, but nobody's really paying for marketing or PR. So if a company is going to represent you to get the job and take the commission once you get paid, once you get hired, you need to still take some money and then pay a PR company to keep your name and likeness out in the public sphere so it can be consumed and you become more familiar as a brand. Now it's easier for you to get other positions or move up and do more things and make it easier for you to recruit. But if we're not doing the job as schools, university, and coaches, if we're not promoting our players, our star players, like for example, we got coaches that went 10-0. You got ESPN Plus, but they didn't create no show on ESPN Plus to cover HBCU, so there's no coaches being called for interviews on ESPN Plus. That money's sitting out there right for the picking, low hanging fruit. So what I'm saying is this: there are outlets, there are platforms, Urban Edge and others like that are doing extremely well. But now it's time to create that additional content for consumption. Now there needs to be these media and PR firms that come in and say, hey, let us represent you as a coach or assistant coach or whatever, and let us build your profile and put that positive energy into the marketplace and represent and develop and build your name and have some consistency. And that matters. We just saw it. They mentioned Travis Hunter so much in this season. He was a contender for the Heisman. The same thing happened when Steve McNair was playing at Alcorn. They mentioned his name so much that he was a contender for the Heisman. So what I'm saying is this: we can't half-ass and expect the world to give us gold when we hadn't even fulfilled our obligation by paying for what we want. If you want something nice, you go out and work and you pay, you earn it. You want more attention, you want the respect, we have to pay for the market, and we have to pay for that. And I understand some people are saying, well, you shouldn't hire a celebrity coach. But if you look at your school's marketing budget and all they doing is bringing in interns and underpaying people, you're gonna get a piss poor product every time. What you gonna pay somebody $20,000 that's already a graduate student if you paying them to go on Facebook and all these free places? That's not marketing.
Hey,
but if you get a contract with a company that's got outlets, 32 magazines or online social spots and TV networks and all these different shows, now you end up in on The View and all these other places because you're being paid to place there to present an alternative viewpoint for the young high school athletes going into the marketplace.
Hey, I want to thank you, Marco, for coming on, man. We got Chuck coming up, and Chuck, you had an echo, man. Chuck, you had an echo. Yeah, you got an echo, Chuck.
Is Marco? Well, I tell Marco.
Yeah. Hold on. Marco's still here. Hold on. Let me get Chuck. Chuck, fix that echo. Go ahead, Marco.
Marco, I apologize for jumping off, man. I mean, my computer, my battery died on my computer.
I understand. All I was saying is, look at the current transfer portal. The kids that have some NIL or have some money that's paying for PR and marketing, they get more shine right now than the kids that don't have no budget. Nobody paying for nothing. So when you pay some money out your pocket, you get what you earn. You get what you deserve because you paid for it. Versus out here banking your seat sales on free. And if you look at PV in Houston, in the Houston market, they ain't paying worth nothing in the market. And what they got, 12 fans. But then you look at all these other schools that's paying. You got Rice. They paying. I'm in Houston, so I see the difference. I see the difference when you see Sam Houston out here. We get mail at my house all the time about investing money or donating money to NIL. They got different packages you can get.
Can I ask Marco? Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why does PWI don't hire NFL guys with no experience? Why they don't hire them? And look, let me before they don't average more fans. We do. We don't. You know what I'm saying? It's because their president and their AD and their alumni support them. So we
can I answer that question?
We take the lazy way out of let me hire this guy that has no experience and bring him in and hope that he can come in with some type of sponsorship. So go ahead.
Let me answer that. Let me answer that question.
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen any mail or anything from Texas Southern saying if you invest $5,000 for this player, they'll represent your brand and give you a package?
No.
So the PWI has become a brand in itself, is recognizable by 3 letters. You don't have to say Louisiana State University. You see LSU. So you can. Okay.
So Marco, I know where you're going, right? So why be angry at me and don't be angry at the president and the AD and the board for not putting together and reaching out to our alumni and be upset at them? Why be mad at me?
Because the coach is the one. The coach is on the front line. He on the front line dealing with mama, dealing with the player. The coach has to be attuned to the wind so he knows whether or not we're gonna kick a field goal from the right half or the left hash. The coach got to know what's going on here in the marketplace. The coach should be telling the AD, the president, hey man, I need y'all to increase this marketing budget. I need this, that, and third. That's what the kids looking for. Is make my job easier. I need more than $5,000 for my recruiting budget because I'm one plane ticket, a rental car, and a dinner away from not having no money to go do recruiting. So it all go hand in hand.
Hey, Marco.
Hold on. Yeah,
go ahead, Mr. Campbell.
Oh, yeah. Okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna ask you this question again. And you say, hey man, you got the BMW look like in the back. You're probably a successful brother. You all in late nuts. I'm gonna give you your respect. But how can you talk about a recruiting budget when Coach talked about Tennessee State, and because the state is not paying it and they're blaming Tennessee State? How can I have a recruiting budget of $100,000 when I'm trying to make sure that students are graduating? How can you blame the coach and the athletic department on that when I'm underfunded by $1 billion?
I'm not blaming the coach, but what I'm saying is the coach has some responsibility, and we don't know if the coach is out here fighting that battle behind closed doors. We don't know that. But what I'm saying is, if you look at the marketing budget as a school as a whole, you just pick one. I don't care which one you pick any of them.
I'm trying to get, so you're saying because I want to get to your point. So you're saying because Michael Vick brings a cachet that he's going to bring marketing dollars that an average coach would not bring. Is that what your point is? Because I'm trying to make sure I understand your point.
What I'm saying is what you gonna get from Vick with the same energy, the same effort that you put into Odom is different because Vick has a celebrity that's going to demand a certain thing. You could have got the same result with Odom there if you increased your marketing budget, and if like I said, we can make our own celebrities. If you pay a PR company that's attached to the right TV shows and networks and publications, they'll have you out here flying all over the world. It's saying like when people put out a book and they say it's part of the New York Times bestseller list. That don't mean they sold any books.
Well,
that means it was paid for by the
Marco. Hey, Marco, we got to get to another card.
All right, go ahead.
I got what you're saying. I appreciate what you're saying. And we need to probably get to another caller.
All right, go ahead, Chuck.
Okay, let me see. Let me get the selfie here.
Well, you got pictures tonight, Rocky.
Okay, all right. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Coach Cole. Good evening to you three. My question is, I know you I know you're a graduate of Texas Southern, and your brother's a graduate of University of Nebraska. How was it for you all? I know you being an HBCU alum, his being from what you all call PWI. How did they treat your brother during the time? He played at Nebraska under Dr. Tom Osborne, legendary coach, and just how did he was the opportunities available for him before yourself? I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, well,
I just want to know.
Well, our careers are on two different levels. He's in front of me by about 7 years. So I felt at the time, or we felt at the time, that he had more. And during those days, it was about how long you've been coaching, where you've been, and what you've done. You know what I mean? Okay. And at that time, I didn't feel that I was even ready to be a head football coach. So when that happened, we pushed him. But the great thing about it is I came from the HBCU realm, and he came from the PWI realm. So it made a great marriage. And I think a lot of that has to do with our success at those schools as we got together and matriculated through the HBCU arena.
That's interesting, and it's great to. This is an interesting discussion because it shows that we're all not the same.
Here's one of the things, Chuck. And again, man, I didn't start this out to be a hater on Mike Vick, but nobody here is talking about his resume. What makes him gonna be, besides he was a great football player, he went to Virginia Tech, and he went.
Awesome.
So my experience, and I'm looking through the realm back 40 years of these celebrity coaches coming in. And only one thing, the difference between now and then is that we got the media behind it. And I got that. Yeah. And I understand the financial thing that, that they may think he brings. See, we all thinking that this was what he's going to bring. But we don't know. When the rubber hits the road, what kind of coach is he going to be? If he goes 0-10, 0-11 the first year, if he goes 2-9 the next year, and 3-7, we won't be having the same talk. In my experience, those guys who have came in and have done that, besides there's now two. There's George, but you can't say Dion because he had some coaching experience that have done it. All the rest in my 40 years, see, I'm talking from 40 years. I'm not talking about from today, was not successful. And all the money and all the attention that we all are guessing that he's going to bring, we'll see. The clock. We're on the clock.
All right. Thank you, Chuck. We got one more, Coach, and then we can get to you.
All right. Let me know when I can get started because I don't want to cut anybody off. I want to be respectful.
Go ahead, man.
Go ahead, Coach. You got
all right. So here's the deal. I'm gonna answer two of your questions, Cole. The first one was with Eddie George. Why didn't Tennessee State get the funding or get the financial backing that Dion had? First of all, you're talking about the difference between an HBCU base and casual bases. With Eddie George, casuals don't view him in the same light as a Deion Sanders, as a Michael Vick, as a Ray Lewis, as a Hans Ward, as a Ed Reed. They don't view him in that same light. And when it comes to getting support from leadership and the administration, Eddie George is walking and running with two hands behind his back because he's not getting the real support that you think that he is. He's doing all of this despite of. Because one thing about Eddie George, and the reason why he wanted to become a coach, outside of Dion inspiring him to be a coach, was his ability to transform and to help elevate student athletes because he's business savvy. He has the connections and he has the resources to open doors that other HBCU coaches just can't because he's been in places and spaces that they just haven't. So that's to answer your question, number one, when it comes to finances. They don't look at him in the same space as they do a Ray Lewis, as a Ed Reed, as a Hans Ward, because they have something in common. The Heisman Trophy, not Heisman Trophy, but the Super Bowl champions and their NFL Hall of Famers, or they were so transformative that they changed the culture in that sports the same way that a Michael Vick has. They don't view him in that same light. Now, to answer your second question, I believe it was about, PWIs. Why don't PWIs hire figurehead coaches? That's like comparing the apple to an orange because, for one, PWIs get state support. They get support from the state. And they have a longer head advantage than HBCUs do when it comes to finances and when it comes to, when it comes to the financial part. And the reason being was, I don't want to get too racial here, but we already know the dynamics. If you look at the history of one versus the other, history would tell you that fact. So that's the reason why they don't, because most successful PWIs, they could just plug and play anybody. It still has success compared to an underfunded HBCU that gets no support. That's why a Deion Sanders came into the space and did what he did with the $185 million promotion and exposure that Jackson State didn't have to spend a penny for. That's what they call invisible money. Because of professional wrestling, Eric Bischoff talked about this. They go through 5 years of what's called a negative, right? With $100 million investment worldwide. Same thing that Tony Khan did with AEW, $100 million to go 5 years into the hole to make a positive. In short, you do the investment so you can generate $1 billion for a wrestling company, because that's how successful companies work. You have to go into a negative before you hit a positive. But
now,
with Deion entered, hold on, let me finish here. With Deion Sanders entering this space, he generated $185 million worth of invisible money. That's promotion, social media, and TV wise, right? That transformed and branded the university worldwide. That's why they're able to out-recruit most HBCUs, because they were in households that they weren't in prior to 2020 when he was hired over TC Taylor. Because
Hold on, stop
when
right
they
there.
hired,
Stop right
hold on.
Stop, hold
When
on,
they hired him.
hold up, bro. We're not gonna let this monologue go too much longer, man.
No,
So,
I'm gonna close it right here. Then I'm just
okay,
gonna sum it up.
All right, I give you 30
I'm gonna land
seconds.
my plane.
Go ahead, 30 seconds.
They chose TC Taylor. They chose Deion over TC Taylor in 2020, right? Because Jackson State was in the red. They're no longer in the red because Deion Sanders became the head coach and brought the finances to the. We could go through the P's and Q's. I'm gonna sum it up here. With Michael Vick coming into this space, he's going to dominate HBCUs. Same way for Ed Reed, Ray Lewis, and the rest of them. Hans Ward, I could continuously go on and on. But I'll sum it up with this. These HBCU hires that you're talking about will not have the same impact as the rest when it comes to finances and business, because this is about business. That's why Jackson State is no longer in the red, because they're doing better business. Why? Because Deion Sanders came into the space so that they can look at other opportunities, right? Versus playing at G5 teams that will put them in the negative, where they can have more home games, do better business, and now they're at $1 million plus for each home game.
All right.
Because Deion.
All right, he ran out of minutes. So, Coach Cole, go ahead, Coach.
Yeah. First of all, Eddie George did bring money towards Tennessee State. They got a new football field. They got a new practice field. They got a new coach's office. They raised the salaries up of coaches. You know, they went up, both coordinators at 120. His staff and his money was bigger than Deion Sanders when it comes to flat money instead of outside money. PWIs, I'm not just talking about the big ones, the SECs. I'm talking about 1AA schools don't hire black colleges. And we average more fans, we make more money. This one thing, Rocky and my man Bishop, that nobody talked about tonight is the presidents who's supposed to raise money, the athletic directors who's supposed to raise money. They're putting it all on the football coach. That's why I know they don't know what they're talking about. The AD supposed to take a coach like Mike Vick and go out and raise some money, and the president as well. Nobody is talking about that. We're thinking that, oh man, let's hire Ed Reed and let's hire these guys, bring them into our school, and all the answers gonna be there. It ain't, coach. It ain't. And if they don't come in, which I'm gonna say, out of 10 NFL coaches that'll come in our league and come in and coach football, they're not going to win. And they're gonna walk away with $1.5, $2 million from our program, and then they're gonna sit there and talk about our program.
Now, bitch, let me say this. You caught up with Scotty around the same time I did over on the YouTube channel, maybe even before I did, right? This is the same thing they were saying when Deion came on board, right? Am I?
Yeah, but see, but
I
see,
don't say I'm not saying they're the same. I'm just saying,
yeah,
but this is what was being said though.
But see, I just think that again, and I'm gonna throw a counterbalance to my guy. I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Willie Simmons, was he a pro player?
No.
Was he even a great college player?
No.
Was he some guy that was working for some white people that everybody knows?
He's a flat out ball coach. That's what he is.
Thank you. And Willie Simmons made FAMU more money in what, 5 years? Because I guess we had the COVID year.
Hey, Prairie View as well.
Prairie View, and to the point that he made us so much money that we were willing to raise money to pay him $500,000 a year. Okay? So to Coach Cole's point, don't tell me that you need Deion Sanders when I saw it firsthand, and Jack State about to see the same thing with TC Taylor when they start winning. So I get all, listen, man, I'm in the business about soft money and brand and all that, but I'm gonna tell you the one thing that Brandon, when we went to that Celebration Bowl and we won that, we would have raised $2 to $3 million if we would have had the right person in place. I'm just gonna tell you what I know. And I'm telling you that we were going to give Willie $500,000 because I was one of the people on the phone that was saying my class is going to put up $25,000 every year to get to it. So my thing of it is to Coach Cole's point, the winning and foundation is the key to any success.
Let me, and I'm on through. Florida A&M coach is Florida A&M because they've done what over the years?
Always won.
First championship, FCS. Why is not Texas Southern, and I'm going to take this one out of your book, Rocky, Prairie View, Mississippi Valley, Arkansas Pine Bluff, why are those schools not blue bread programs? Because they lost.
And they don't care as much.
They lost. No, Texas Southern pays their head coach more than
that don't mean they care, coach.
Texas Southern pays their head coach more than any black school in America.
Coach
Prairie View is up there.
Coach,
why does those schools not blue bread programs? It's because
they didn't
win. Won.
Yeah, they didn't win. I think they go and coach. If you come accustomed to winning, there's an expectation of winning, and then people realize how valuable winning is. If people have never
so
won,
here's my question, Coach Rocky. This is my question. Yeah, he bring his status with him, but does he know how to coach a winning program?
That's what you
Coach,
that's what you care about. That's not why they hiring Mike Vick, Coach. Coach, like I told you last night, if anybody says they know Mike Vick is gonna win, they are lying. They have no idea what kind of coach he's gonna be. They're just lying.
So what I'm saying is, then they need to look at the president. They need to look at the athletic director of saying, why are we taking this chance and paying this guy to do your job?
Coach, let me ask you this here, Coach. Coach, you got to realize they went and stole Southern's coach, installed him for the past 4 years, and we know what the outcome was.
Right. That makes sense.
Them going and stealing Southern's coach created a vacuum at Southern, which it hasn't been filled up to this point. Terrence Graves may have filled it, right? But it did create a vacuum, correct?
Right.
There is not a surplus of great coaches out there. Even you say that, Coach. You say only 25% of coaches are winners.
You're right. How about that?
So, Coach, this is what I say. And you know, Coach, me and you disagree, but for the most part, we agree. And I'll say this. If a winning coach, a practitioner coach, goes in and wins, he won't have no problem keeping the job with it. If Odom had won, Vick wouldn't have no opportunity with it.
Right.
They're not firing competent coaches and then installing celebrities, Coach. They're firing coaches who failed, and then they're trying to find a better way of how to get the winning part done. But at the very least, they don't want to hire another guy because guess what? They could go steal Chennis Barrett, Coach. They could go steal Chennis Barrett from South Carolina State, right? But would that guarantee them winning? I'll ask Campbell that. He's a historian. Would that guarantee Norfolk winning?
Well, hold on. I will say this. Them taking Chennis Barrett, I will put more money on him being a winner than Michael Vick. Now, that I'll tell you that 100%. Because coaching is coaching.
It was coaching. Coaching was coaching when they hired Odom too.
No, Odom was on the level. No, Odom was not even close to the level. And no disrespect to Coach O, but he's not on the same level of Coach.
Can I ask though, Rocky?
Yes.
Why does PWIs don't do it? Why they don't do it?
Because they have Coach. You asked this question several times.
Yeah, and nobody has gave me an answer.
No, keep it. Sam actually did answer that. And he was long-winded, but he did answer that, Coach. Because they have a bigger pool, Coach.
A pipeline. They build a pipeline of coaches.
Hey, hold, time out. Now we're not talking about the SEC. We're not talking about FBS at all. We're talking about FCS schools. What FCS schools does it?
Coach, let me tell you this. There's a gentleman that he was coaching at Texas State, and he actually beat Jackson State one year.
They Division I. They Division I.
Oh, okay, coach. You know
Talk
where he
about an FCS school.
You know where
why they don't do that?
No, coach. You know where he coached that 2 years before he beat Jackson State? He was coaching at a high school in Texas.
Okay.
I think his last name is Joe Barry Kenny.
Hey, coach, I'll take that because he got coaching experience.
Now, see, if they start hiring high school coaches, you're going to have a problem too, coach.
No, sir. No, sir.
Coach, I don't believe that. Coach. I believe if they hire Coach Sample from Duncanville, or Coach or the guy from South Oak Cliff, Coach Todd, I think you guys who have been in coaching will still have a problem with that, because you'll say they don't have no college coaching experience. They just the ones that state championships in high school. They want those guys don't even coach. Check this out.
You know what I would say? I have a problem if you didn't come from an HBCU school. Yeah.
Coach, my point is, y'all don't even go hire those guys on your staffs to get the players. You're not hiring Coach Sample. You're not hiring Coach Todd. You're not hiring Coach Mathis.
But see, Coach, once again, that's out of the realm, because in the state of Texas, shit, them guys are making $150,000. They damn near making more than you. So they not gonna come to your staff on. But again, why doesn't FCS schools, PWI schools, don't reach out and just take a pro guy and make him our head coach without no experience? Answer that question.
Coach, I think they have a pipeline of qualified coaches, right?
Because they don't depend on bringing in a head coach in, because the AD and the president and the alumni know their duties and their responsibility to help the university out. That's why, and let alone that he don't know what he's doing. That's why they don't do it.
Coach, let me ask you this here, Coach. They gave Odom a chance, and they gave 3 or 4 other guys before Odom a chance. What's so difficult about giving this time to see how it all pans out?
Because I'm an HBCU coach, and I know I'm speaking for all the other HBCU coaches, have done it the right way, and they let this guy come in and jump the line on what they think he can do and what they think he can bring in. That's why. That's the way I see it. So that's my argument. Right?
Hey, Coach, let me ask you this question, and you ain't got to say this. I want and you, Coach Chairman, you talk to a lot of coaches. Overall, how do the coaching fraternity feel about these celebrity hires?
I'm glad you asked, Coach. I am their voice.
Okay. From
Deion Sanders to all of them. They feel that they're robbed. They feel that it's not right. And they won't talk because they still grinding.
And they shouldn't. They should.
They don't want to talk. So I'm talking for them. I talk to them off the cuff. You know what I'm saying? And they hate it. They don't think it's right. They don't think it's fair. They don't think that, man, I'm trying to do it the right way. It's every time. And Rocky, you probably don't know this, and my audience probably don't know this, is it's hard being a black coach. And every time we get where we want to be or trying to get, they always move the marker. What am I saying? When I was a young coach in the 80s, they say, cut your hair, wear slacks, be professional. When you go recruiting, make sure you shave, Okay, move it. Then next is, you need to go meet and network more. But here's the problem with the networking part. When you're making $40,000 and you got to go to work every day and you can't really get off to go, I know you got to grind. I know you just got to make some sacrifices. But if nobody on the staff looks like you, and during them days in the 90s, they only had 2 black coaches on the staff, it was hard to break into that. All right. So where do we turn to? as HBCU coaches. Now, there's been some strides made. Believe me, they have. But when we give away those precious 40 jobs, man, to guys that have no coaching experience, man, it's a slap in the face to them guys. It is. It's a slap in the face to say, I've been grinding, I've been trying to do it the right way, and then here comes somebody jumping off that don't have the knowledge, don't have the know-how, never been experienced, besides as a player, then he's better than me. And I've chosen to go to this HBCU school, and he's chosen to go somewhere else and make money for them and never give money back to us. Then now he's got the job that I've been working for all my career.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, Blue is right. He did build a program at Incarnate Word, but he also was the head coach at, I don't want to say Kilmer. I can't think of the name of the high school, but he was a high school coach before he was a college coach. That's all that's the only point I was making. He was a high school head coach before he was a college coach. But Blue is correct. My bad.
Right. But no, man, we need to bring it on down. Again, Mike Vick or his people watching our show, man, this was never for my intention to be directly about Michael Vick, the person. Because I don't know him like that. Of course, I loved him as a player in the NFL, but I'm just speaking from an HBCU realm of guys that I know, and have walked down that cycle and that street and done everything I've needed to do, to put myself or their selves in a position to be a head coach. And knowing that when you look at the percentage at the PWIs, I ain't talking about the FBS. We know that's low. I'm talking about the FCS schools. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the Division II schools, Division III schools, that we're not getting those opportunities. So where else do we turn to? If I can't come home and be the man in my house, then what else is it? That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So that's my position on that.
Well, I understand, Coach. Like I said, I get you being protective of those positions because of the predicament that black men in coaching are in, right? I understand that, right? I also understand the struggle of the institution. And the struggle of the institution is that they struggle to get media coverage. They struggle to get support from their own fan base. And until something changes, they'll never be on equal footing as a PWI or a blue blood or predominantly white institution. But we saw with Jackson State, it's a hack to hire a guy who already has a brand, who already has a big name. It puts you in the news cycle. It puts you in front of millions of people that otherwise would not give a damn about Norfolk State. Yeah. And I don't know what it's worth. I don't know what it's worth, but I do know it's worth something. And I'm not gonna begrudge the AD or the president for giving it a shot. Go ahead, Coach.
Let me say this too. Most football programs in this country do not even raise enough money to run itself. Most, and probably 100% on the FCS level, does not raise enough money to support its own self. Scholarships, coaching, no matter if it was Deion Sanders or not. So when folks talk about that, and any AD will tell you that, oh no, the football program, we do that just for the alumni support. They don't make enough money where they can just work on themselves. So once again, I look at it out of different eyeglasses than anybody else. You go ask any athletic director, does the football program make enough money to run itself? No, it doesn't.
But let me say this. I think the way they do, and this is, and I'll ask Campbell can comment on this or whatever. Campbell, if this, you got to understand, HBCU to do things a little different than PWIs, right? Because with the success that Jackson State has had, especially the success they had on defense. At a PWI or any other conference, there's no way Coach Quinn doesn't get an interview or a job offer.
100%.
He almost guaranteed to be the coach at Mississippi Valley if this conference operates like a PWI.
Well, look at what Willie Simmons had to do. He had to literally go just to say to white folks, "I'm okay." He had to go to Duke. Honestly, what at Duke made him any better to be the head coach this year or last year? Honestly, nothing.
He did get a check. He did get a Celebration Bowl championship in between him hiring for the job.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. His resume was the exact same when he was the Celebration Bowl champion. Him going to Duke did not add anything. He had to do that because
But the job wasn't vacant then.
Yeah, but listen. He could have stayed. Obviously, he knew. Coach knew he needed that white validation.
Oh, okay.
To make the white folks feel good to get there, because he could have stayed at FAMU, ran it back, and all hell would have broke loose, right? So the point of it is, and this is the thing that I guess that when I see these issues, and Coach, listen, and I want to say to everybody listening, I want people to listen and allow us to have conversations like this. No other place is going to allow us to have a championship coach talk about what black coaches are thinking about. I understand you all believe that Michael Vick is a good selection. We have no problem with that. But I think, and I'm saying this to young people, sometimes you need to listen to older people because you're going to be old too. And sometimes it'll allow you to dodge some BS. So what he's feeling is you'll be shocked when you get to that certain age, you might feel that way. And then you say, okay, now I understand why Coach Cole is feeling that way. Or it might happen in your job. So the question goes back to Coach, and I think this is where overall that I wanted to get to the point. Because, Rocky, the question would be, if Willie Simmons was available, right, and Michael Vick was available, they're going to hire Willie Simmons because his resume is going to make it better, right? So we know and that's why I told Coach, well, I think also fit matters in this situation. I don't think Michael Vick would be great at Alabama A&M. I don't think he'd be great at I don't think he'd be great at Prairie View. I give you one better, Rocky. I don't think he would be great at Sacramento State.
No.
Right? So this clearly means that wherever Michael Vick go is not the magical elixir. And he would have more resources at Sacramento State, right? And everything. But everybody knows that people are saying that if he goes to this place, not every place, this place is a better fit. And that's why I've always tried to make this discussion about that. Because I think, again, with a Sam Shade, a Teddy Keaton, I think if they went to the Norfolk, I think that's not a place for them to be successful. I think Teddy Keaton and Sam Shade could be anywhere else. But Norfolk, again, I put the list up. They have 5 coaches, and none of them have ever been winners. The last 5 coaches. So I think what they did was, we're going to do it. We can't get any worse than what we have. And I think sometimes you do that. I think this is, quote unquote, a little bit of a Hail Mary. Now, Michael Vick makes the Hail Mary look good. But my point of it is, if he goes to Sacramento State, if this show was him going to Sacramento State, this would be a totally different. All these people in the chat, they'll be like, oh, no, he shouldn't have went there. They would be saying that. So we have to always talk about fit versus talent and need. And I think this was a talent need versus fit.
I agree. Coach, you have anything?
No, I'm good, Coach, man. You know, I just want to make sure I reiterate my position of this higher, my conversation when I'm for HBCU, Coach. Ain't gonna ever change. I'm from the HBCU graduate. I'm old school. I believe in the grind. I ain't that deep into the social media realm of what it can do and what it can bring. And I know this, Coach and Bishop, you got to win, baby. You got to win.
Yeah, well, listen, and listen, and it's the same thing. Hey, well, listen, hold on, and I'm gonna use the example. We saw this in Colorado, did we not?
Yeah.
They was on Prime's neck.
Yeah.
And they was gunning, and I'm telling you something, them white folks was ready to knock his ass out.
Yes, sir.
We all saw it. He went
Yeah.
4-8, all that dancing and shaking, and you should doing all that. They went 3-1. We ain't hear nothing else about it. And them white folks was getting ready to say, this is a total failure. We tried to tell you so. Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing. This is where the thing about it is. 9-3. The question is going to be what he going to do next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think winning is the same in PWIs as it is in black college. It's the best deodorant you can buy. You understand?
All I can say is I've been around black college for the last 40-some years. And Grambling is Grambling because they win. Jackson State is Jackson State because they win. You know what I mean? The Blueberry programs of our Southern was just mediocre till Pete Richardson came there and won 17 straight years. 17 straight years winning seasons. Tennessee State was great when my man before LC came. They had fell off until LC came and won 2 Value championships. Alabama State was dead. After Markham, it was dead. Till LC Cole came there and won at Alabama State in the early 2000s. You can ask Barlow of Greg. You can ask Eddie Robinson. Jackson State had fell off, as well as Florida A&M. And you can attest to that, Campbell, when they fired my man and they fell off.
Was a band school again.
Thank you, Coach. I'm glad you're being truthful about it.
Oh, no, we know. Listen, bro, we was 1-10 before Willie got there.
And Florida A&M, because they're a Blueberry, they used to win it. Did they go hard? Did they go hire a professional player? No. They went hard Billy Joe to make them win. Then they made a mistake, and then they went hard winning coaches. All those coaches. Grambling, look at Grambling. All right? They hired Doug Williams after Eddie. He won championships. They hired Melvin Spears, championships. They hired Fobb, championships. They fell off. Oh, I'm sorry. And they hired Broadway, championships. So y'all can tell me about celebrity coaches and what they can bring. I get it, but they better bring some damn W's. And I'm done. And I'm dropping the mic, Coach.
Yeah, hey, Coach. I think it's time for you to take us out of here, Coach. You have anything, Campbell?
Hey, man, I do have one thing real quick, and I'll be real brief. Hey, man, I went to the Celebration Bowl, and, man, it was, once again, I've been to every Celebration Bowl but one, and, man, it was just a great family reunion. And I'm going to keep saying this, man. It always warms my spirit. I met a lot of people from all different schools. It was nothing but positive, because we have a lot of people that watch this show, and they appreciate what this show is all about and what you represent. So I just want to let you know that. And so I'm just going to keep saying the real people, the real HBCU fans ain't what's on Twitter. They ain't what's in some of these people in this chat and in them Facebook groups. Real HBCU people are beautiful people that love their school. They're going to do their junk talking, but they always going to have respect. So, man, I appreciate all y'all that saw me out this weekend. Hey, man, and you know what? Congratulations, Jackson State. You know, HBCU national champs. Proud of what you all do, but we'll see y'all next year.
All right, man. Shit, boy, God, this was a show, man. Hey, look. Hey, I was under the fire, Coach. You know, hopefully I stood in there and punched my way out.
Coach, listen.
But guys, everything we'll see. Norfolk is on the clock, you know, and we'll see how that thing go. I wish Michael Vick all the luck and joy in the world, because he's still representing the HBCU school. And that's what I want to see. I want to see success. But I'm always stand behind my HBCU graduates, first and foremost. And nobody's going to get me off of that thing. That's why I started this show. I started this show to help out our HBCU coaches, our young coaches, to be able to move up and get those opportunities that we don't get in the other conferences. So, again, if you feel yourself at the end of the rope, tie a knot and hold on tight, baby. Because them HBCUs, they bad than a mother.